All right. Good evening or good afternoon, actually, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checker TV. Say this afternoon we've got one of those races that you never want to be a part of, but at the same time, I say we had the opportunity, and I say there was no way I was going to pass this up. So, say unfortunately, say this is the Jimmy Crow Senior Memorial 250 tonight at Talladega. 100 laps is the scheduled distance. So I say obviously first and foremost, definitely want to let everybody at the Crow family and of course friends as well of Jimmy Senior know let them know we're thinking of him, and yeah, I hope they're doing as best they can on these difficult times. So yeah, so say we're putting on a little race here for in his honor this evening. As we mentioned before with the race at Pocono, he definitely reached and touched out to a lot of drivers in with various leagues and everything like that. And so, just really wanted to thank, kind of a way to thank him for everything he's done. And so yeah, so I'm sure Jimmy Jr. will be catching this at some point. Just yeah, want to let you know we're thinking of you guys as well. So, say no, there was no entry fee, anything like that for this evening. There are no prizes or anything like that as well. Again, it's just kind of in his honor. However, of course, if you are available to, Charles Johnson, he's kind of took on the lead for this event. So he's gathering some donations to help for the funeral expenses for Jimmy Senior, as we know those can get pretty costly. So you see on the bottom left there, his email address is charlesj1998@gmail.com. So please feel free if you're able to. Say no pressure by any means, but if you're able to, of course, it'd be much appreciated by everybody. So, say qualifying just about done here this evening. Dale, I'd say really appreciate you joining me with this one. Say it's gonna be. I say it's Talladega. We know they can go three wide. I'll say I'll be curious to see what kind of strategy these guys are going to pull out this evening. With I say it's going to be a slightly longer race here as well. 100 laps. So say we've done the 75 lappers. Usually gets around that 2-3 pit stop window. So that extra 25 laps definitely going to add that pit stop strategy into the mix possibly for this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned, it's a little bit longer than these guys are used to, as far as the guys who run in the Area 51 Super Speedway Series. And with that, we have some names that I've personally not seen before, and we're missing some names. So it's definitely going to affect the strategy a little bit for the guys who regularly run the Super Speedway Series here at Area 51.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Say kind of a mix of some new and old faces. I'll say a lot of them. I'll say some of them are definitely familiar, and it'll be fun to see them on track again here. So it might even be a way to kind of get them to run here a little bit more frequently as well. So I'll say with that, actually, let's go ahead and pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. And on that pole position, not going to be any surprise here, Dale. That number 1, Gabe Butler, getting the pole position next to him. That number 8 of Dude Conrad, qualifying in second and third. Oh, actually, no, I think we're doing the heat race right now. Apologies. But yeah, so second is Dude Conrad. Then we got Dean Wilkinson, Eric Laurie, Charles Johnson, Travis Turnmeyer, Joe Delavecchia, Corey Lane. From 9 through 16th, you've got Brandon Pasalacqua, David Overstreet, Jim Brooks, William Sanders, Jason Spear, Les Levy, Roy Grandy, Ryan Kelly. And then John Brill, Jeffrey Clifton, Mickey Spear, Hilton Young, Robbie Richards, Mike Morrison. And drivers that did not put it down a qualifying lap are Craig Forsyth, Daniel Holloway. So we got going here is the first heat race for tonight's event. And so you see there Daniel Holloway in that 21 machine. Outside of him, you got James Ledford. So this is going to start things off. Looks like a 15-lap heat race for this one, Dale. And so this is going to basically set the starting grid for the remainder of the field who didn't qualify in that top, I think it was like top 25 or so. So they did that just to kind of open up the opportunity in case they had 60-plus drivers. That'd be the way to kind of max out everybody, to make sure everybody had an opportunity to get into this race tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And for some of these guys who may not race every day or every week for that matter, it's a good opportunity to get them used to things and back on the track a little bit before the actual race.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I say it'll be a good way for them to just get a little bit of a feel. And I'll say also a couple of those cars that maybe haven't raced with each other. Like you said, kind of a couple guys that haven't raced with each other right away off the bat here. So saying also some pretty cool paint schemes as well right off the bat. There's, like I mentioned, that 21 of Daniel Holloway. Say a nice shiny looking Hershey Kiss machine in that 21 car.
Yeah, if you noticed a few Jim Crow Senior memorial paint schemes as well, just like the 24 Timothy Wright's running today.
Yeah, that's right. I say I say he's got the Team Crow's Nest all red paint scheme, so they kind of just matching what the league kind of had on their colors and everything like that. And yeah, we'll definitely pull up some of those as well during the race itself. So it's been great to see. So even you got the painters coming out in full force, doing what they can as well to support Jimmy Senior. So really nice to see. So it looks like we got about 6, I believe. Actually, no, I'm about 7 cars, I think, that are going to be taking part in this one. So you've got Daniel Holloway, James Ledford, Timothy Wright, Justin Adamson, Kyle Hess, Brendan Byerly, and Dwight Plesh. So those are going to be the 7 taking part in this heat race. I say it's going to be 15 laps. So, I mean, that's a pretty decent length for a heat race as well. I mean, it's not quite a full fuel run with the reduced fuel loads, which I say I'm not 100% sure what they're running this evening. I suspect it'll be kind of the lower fuel run that we've seen them run before. So it'll be curious to see what kind of strategy these guys have, if they're just going to kind of go full send or just, again, try to kind of get used to each other, maybe just try to find the limits of their cars as well.
Yeah, and there's something else that I hadn't considered until just now is, the track state's gonna stay. So the rubber they put down, it's going to change the track slightly on these 15 laps when they take the green flag on the actual race than what they saw in practice and qualifying.
Yeah, exactly right. So I say it might be almost a little bit of advantage, get a little bit of feel, see how much it's going to change. Say Talladega, you don't worry too much about that, but every little bit of advantage you can get always goes a long way. So Trevor's coming through the start-finish line now, and once they come across, that green flag will fly, and we will get things underway for this heat race. It's almost like a little mini IROC race, if you will, with the 7 cars in this heat event. As Timothy Wright takes the greens, they go 2 by 2 here. Inside line already getting a pretty good start there.
Yeah, 2-car breakaway there on the bottom starting off. Everybody's going to be able to reel them in, but be a good opportunity here to see how a 2-car tandem draft may be able to work.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I'm curious to see if we see drivers maybe try to find their friends, if you will, too. Like, I mean, we're pretty familiar with James Ledford, Kyle Hess, Dwight Plesh. Be curious to see if those 2 try to lock on together at some point in the race, work together in this heat race, or if they just kind of run their own kind of strategy here. As you can see, actually right off the bat, Kyle Hess jumps to the top side. I believe that is with the 24 there of Timothy Wright. So we'll see what these guys are able to do. Yeah, you see Dwight Plesh, he jumps to the top as well. So they're going to waste no time here.
Yeah, and this isn't a situation where you got a full field and you're worried about, jumping up top early. It's a short race, not a big field. I suspect we'll see quite a bit of side-by-side for these 15 laps.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see also if anybody decides to try to make some pretty wide action happen as well. So you can see right now James Ledford, he's kind of just cruising, just make sure he stays in the draft. But so I don't know if you have enough cars to make that third line happen. But as you can see, though, that 42, Justin Adamson, he is giving a big push to that 21 of Daniel Holloway here down the front stretch. Or back stretch, one of those turns.
Yeah, the top line really not able to make it happen there, just based off the push that plaid 42 car is given to 21 there coming off of 4.
Yeah, so that 42, so he's going so fast, he's gone plaid there, so we'll see if he's able to keep that speed up. But yeah, I say right now, though, those top 3, the inside line definitely seems to be the place to be, at least with the smaller group. So we'll have to see if that does kind of keep him away here as the run progresses. Obviously, we know the top line does definitely have the advantage. However, you saw there for a little bit, you always see the 21 starting to disappear a little bit on track. That's going to hurt that inside line. That's going to really give the momentum now to that top side.
Yeah, and that's a scary thing to see. Even with the small pack, is see somebody disappear. You're moving so fast, you're not sure where they're going to reappear. Or even in the larger packs, you're riding a little bit further back, and you just see smoke all at once. You're not sure if somebody blinked or if there's a wreck happening.
Yeah, exactly right. I said there's a lot of times where we'll be in a draft pack where we see this big group and you see that little puff of smoke and you want to lift, but at the same time you don't want to lift because if it's not an actual incident, you don't want to risk losing all that track position. So kind of that risk versus reward, we've seen that a few times before. So looks like everything's kind of settled back out there. Connection, he's kind of squared back away here. So they're continuing back on down the backstretch again, only on lap number 4 of 15. So we still got a little ways to go before this first heat race is underway. As you can see, actually, 21, big wiggle there on the backstretch there with the 42 there. So I think a couple bumps gone wrong there, and that's an easy thing to do here at Talladega.
Absolutely is, and it's easy too. this track's slightly bigger, slightly faster than Daytona, and with the start finish line moved, it's easy to kind of get lost here, especially everybody racing Daytona this week on official races.
Yeah, so I don't know. For me, I kind of actually prefer, like, I feel more comfortable, obviously, at Talladega, having that slightly wider track, knowing you can go three wide with so much more ease with drivers here in the race. That's like, for me, between the two, I say this is definitely my preferred track for these for plate racing itself. Just because at Daytona you can go three wide in iRacing. I say as we saw the podium guys do without any problems, but say when you kind of get maybe just like an open race or things of that nature, it's definitely much more difficult to do. Whereas at Talladega, so you can kind of get some random characters in there, and as long as everybody's kind of doing what they're supposed to do, they can definitely find their way to make that three wide happen.
You know, I'm kind of watching James Ledford riding here in the back, maintaining the draft, obviously, but just kind of back here doing his own thing, watching everything progress in front of him. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, say James is one of those not to show his hand until he really wants to or needs to, and so I think that's exactly it. He wanted to see how these guys are going to race with each other right off the bat, and make sure he didn't kind of get himself in the middle of an issue here. And so, I mean, again, even with the smaller group like this, with these 7 cars, I mean, it's a really good strategy to take. So again, still a long ways to go here. Going to come across for 9 laps to go in this 15-lap heat race, so not quite halfway either. So yeah, I say James is one of those guys who he doesn't really show his hand, but we've seen before, especially with those 87 cars, that was really where he's shown he would really be able to stretch the lead out, and say that was where he was strong in those long runs with those cars. So yeah, I think James is biding his time, and I have a feeling we'll see him make a move in this heat race before everything's said and done.
Yeah, the 24 of Tim Wright there on the top side now getting a push off of Dwight Flesh, trying to make something happen.
Yeah, I think this is something we see with Dwight, is he's kind of doing maybe what he's not maybe not comfortable with, but we don't really see Dwight doing. Usually with Dwight, he kind of just rides in the back and tries to just kind of keep his equipment in good shape, and then really makes a push for it as the race goes towards the end of the race. So I think this heat race, him knowing also that he's going to be locked into the main event, so I think it's allowing him to maybe do a little bit different stuff that he might not normally do in the race, take a little bit more risks. As you can see, push that 24 car just a little bit more aggressively as well. So I think that's what we're seeing from that 44 Dwight Flesh as well.
Yeah, I'd like to see him really, he pokes out here in the middle of the corner. I'd like to see him really lock on there in the backstretch and get a big enough push where he can get them both around.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. And you wonder if he's able to or not. So you can see he's going to lock onto the back there down the backstretch, gets a big push to that 24 car. Might be able to actually clear him entering turn number 3. Dwight do it though. You can see Dwight jumps straight to the top there. That's what I was about to bring up. I was wondering if Dwight might be getting a little hot in that 44 car. And so as you can see, he jumps to the top. He's going to switch over. Looks like Kyle Hess is going to take command here. And that's going to be a big thing in this race, is if you do want to try to lock on and tandem with these guys around you, you've got to make sure that you keep an eye on those oil and water temperatures, because unfortunately for us, we can't see what those temperatures are. Only the drivers know what their temps are. But that's definitely a big thing to have happen, because I say once you get that thing up into the 280s, 290s, it climbs in a hurry, and it's really risky to not blow it up if that happens.
And it's a difficult thing to watch. Like, it's in your mind, you have to watch your temps. But when you're pushing somebody and you're locked on and you're going for the lead, or trying to make a pass, whatever the situation is, it's very easy to forget those temperature gauges are down there.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we've seen it in a lot of different series, even some of the more of the pro series, where some will be locked on and they'll be pushing for all they're worth, and all of a sudden you hear the motor drop, pop, even if you're on the car. Maybe around them, and you hear that motor blow, and you just hope that they're not in your lane, because it stacks up so quickly when those things happen. So right now, it looks like everybody's kind of giving themselves just maybe about, I don't even know what I would say, maybe like a bumper width distance between the front cars with each other. That actually kind of leads into another thing, Dale, where the front 2 cars, they can definitely tandem, but there's kind of an unwritten rule of don't push the pusher. So like if you're that 2 car on the inside of Brendan Byerly, if you're the 44 now of Dwight Flesh, you really don't want to be pushing that second car, because that's where things really get stacked up and it really can cause some troubles. So I think that's one thing we will probably, that these drivers need to be aware of. Maybe it's something that they try just to gamble with and see if they can do it or not. seeing if that third car can maybe lock onto the back of that second car. Maybe they kind of get that really big train going.
Yeah, it's a risky move because, just the pure physics behind it. That middle car's locked onto the front car. The third car comes up and pushes him. It'll raise that middle car up off the ground, and then, he's going sideways.
Yeah, exactly right. So these things, they do lock decently with each other. Obviously, the ARCA K&N cars that iRacing has, those you can't bump. So as soon as you touch them, you're going to loop those guys around. But say these cars definitely do lock on well. And same obviously with iRacing, there's no locking bumpers rule like we see with the truck and Xfinity series. They just want you to bump and not lock on. So say these guys, as long as those temperatures are feasible, they'll lock on. They'll push all the way through. So. So we are on 5 to go. Next time by is going to be 4 to go. And you see James Ledford, he's moved to the top side now. He's trying to see try to find where that momentum might take him. And I was going to say, as you see the 86 Kyle Hess, he jumps to the top. Not sure if that might be a temperature-related thing or hoping maybe someone went to the top with him. That's really going to hurt Timothy Wright, though. So we'll see. I think at some point, again, like I said, I think James is going to at some point make this move to see what he can get on these final couple laps here.
It looked like Brandon Byerly was going to try to make it 3 wide there and root that 42 car out of line, but he ended up stepping back up.
Yeah, I think that's what we might see here at some point. You've seen the 42 and the 21; they've been pretty much just lockstep with each other. So we don't know if there's any teammates or anything in this heat here. So what I would suspect though is eventually, usually the top line is at some point is going to be where the momentum shifts, and that's where you're going to want to be at the end of this race to try to get to the front here if you want to try to win this heat. And so usually what you might see is like the 42, if he can push the 21 clear of that 24 car, then he jumps to the middle and hopes that he gets that push from the 24 and he doesn't jump to the top to take him 3 wide and he loses all his momentum. That's definitely a strategy that we could see come into play here as well in these final couple laps.
Yeah, we talked about him, staying tan and probably not going 3 wide. We're going to see him go 3 wide here coming to the checkered flag on the last lap. I have no doubt.
Yeah, I think at some point someone's going to make that move. It's probably off of 4 as well. So you get that run, you get the momentum. Say it's a little tougher here with the 7 cars in this heat race. But I'll say in the main event here coming up shortly, we're definitely going to be seeing that third line come into play as well. However, one thing we have noticed and has been brought up before is with the new iRacing updates where they kind of had that pocket of air, if you will, where you can kind of run the wall at some of these tracks here. That you actually have to be careful not to run too close to the wall now at these plate races, because that actually does slow the car down just that little bit. You see Dwight Pledge getting everything he can to that 24 car, getting a little wiggly in the process. So I say if you're going to run that third line, I think you got to be careful. And actually, here it goes. You see Dwight Pledge, he's going to jump to the top. You see Kyle Hess, he wants to go with him there, but Kyle's just too far behind. Oh, the 2 almost catches the left rear of the 24 car there, a 4.
Yeah, it's coming to the white flag, 1 to go. Everybody's starting to make their moves. No help up top for Dwight Flesh in that 44. He's going to tuck back in line.
Yeah, and here comes James Ledford. I think this is going to be where we see that push from the 48 car, see if he can make that shove happen. I say we've got Checker Flag Motorsports here, though, Dale. I say they're putting money on the 21 car that he's going to take this heat number 1 in this next lap here. So we'll see, though, if James Ledford, Timothy Wright, if they have anything to say about it, because James is definitely on the push here. As I said, though, here comes 42. 42 definitely pushing that 21 as they come into tournament 3 here.
Yeah, you got Kyle Hess and Dwight Flesh formed up there behind him, trying to get a run here. It looks like they might jump to the top side coming off.
Yeah, so this would be the time to take the momentum. Yeah, here he comes. Dwight's going to jump to the top. Doesn't have Kyle with him quite enough here. So now it's going to be between these top 2 on the 21-24. It looks like coming to the line. Who's going to be able to squeeze in front? I think the 24 just got the nose ahead. I think Timothy Wright going to steal that heat number 1 win with that big push from James Ledford there at the very end.
Yeah, an amazing run there on the top side. I don't know if they was playing with him that whole run and making it look like they couldn't get there, but when the time counted, they got there.
So it looks like, Dale, we're going to have 30 cars taking part in tonight's event here. So we saw those final 7 there. So it looks like it was going to be 25 that were locked, or so actually 23 that were locked in on time. And then those remaining drivers going to try to run the LCQ. So yeah, so right now everybody's out on track here. So we'll keep an eye and wait for everybody to get organized here, and we'll take a look and see. But yeah, like you mentioned, though, I do definitely want to jump over to some of those cars. Les Levy was one in that 62 machine. You're talking about some of those special paint schemes for Jimmy Senior. So this is the paint scheme there that you've got on Les Levy's machine. You can see you got Jimmy there on the hood with his bird there. And then say one of the phrases that Jimmy was known for with racing with respect. You see that on the quarter panel of that 62 machine. So some really cool paint schemes that these guys are able to put on for this event here tonight.
Yeah, I noticed earlier. He's trying to find him here. Gabe Butler is running a modified version of his normal paint scheme. Is the Jimmy Crow Memorial scheme.
Yeah, you see everybody's lined up here on the start finish line here. So this is that 4 wide salute we were talking about for Jimmy Senior. So you see everybody's getting locked in line here. So you can just see how many cars they've got in this one. It's really cool to see just how many guys we have able to be a part of this one tonight.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and going to do this 4 wide salutes, the ultimate way to pay respect to a racer.
Alright, so things everybody's getting rolling now. So I say as the moment of silence for, again, in respect for Jimmy Senior, everybody's going to get lined up here and make it around the track here together. So yeah, just again, really cool to see. Really nice gesture by the drivers here. And so, as we mentioned, yeah, I say to all the Crow family, Jimmy Jr., say we're definitely thinking of you all. Hope you're doing the best you can in times right now. Alright, and with that, say that is the 5 minutes there up. So say now it's time for the big event here, Dale, the 100 lap race here at Talladega. So say this is now everybody's going to kind of get their game faces back on, and say obviously again everybody's going to do the best they can to put on a really good race for the Crow family. But say, as you know, say at some point, say the racers, they get those helmets on, and at that point, say they kind of just do what they know best. And so that's, I think, what we're going to be, I suspect we'll be seeing this evening.
Yeah, even though you said there's no payouts, no purses, no championship on the line, they're still going to be competitive without a doubt.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it's gonna be fun to see. So again, that front row though, saying this is gonna be the group that we're gonna have to be keeping an eye on though. Say it's week in and week out with that Sunday Super Speedway Series. You've got Gabe Butler, Dude Conrad on the front row. Eric Lorry's there in fourth. In the third row, you got Travis Turnmeyer, Charles Johnson right there as well. So. Say those are usually the kind of the heavy hitters of the Super Speedway Series. So those are gonna be those drivers that we're going to keep an eye on. And we'll see. I say we're going to have a few faces that maybe don't run this series as often, but are definitely quick drivers. Ryan Kelly is one of those first ones that comes to mind to me in that 17 car. We know everything he's able to do behind the wheel of these Cup cars. And then also, I mean, we got an IndyCar champion over here as well. That number 131, Craig Forsyth, Indy Series Season 6 champion with Area 51. So he's taking part in this one as well. So got a lot of mix of kind of backgrounds of racing and everything like that. So it's going to be fun to see what these guys are able to put on here tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned Craig. I haven't seen Craig on a super speedway or in a Cup car for that matter very much, but he does race the IndyCar league all the time. Very, very aerodynamic dependent car. So I'm excited to see how he does at a big track like Talladega in a big heavy car.
Yeah, so I think he's going to be, knowing him, he's going to be doing pretty well. Say Craig's, he's used to the close door-to-door action. I say, and for Craig, he's going to be probably feeling pretty good about the fact that he's got that he's going to have just the damage is going to be able to be easily repairable if he needs that to happen for him as well. So don't have to worry about the Indy cars. Would say you kind of do something and those cars are destroyed. These cars will run a little more aggressive. You can definitely beat up on them a little bit more.
Yeah, and if an event does come to play where the car is damaged beyond repair, they do have two fast repairs based on the length of the race. So should be exciting throughout the whole 100 laps.
Yeah, exactly right. Also got to jump over to the 46 of David Overstreet. He's got that same paint scheme there as well for Jimmy Senior there. So you got a really nice looking paint scheme on that number 46 machine. So. We know for sure him in the 26 car. I think it's the 26 car. So I'm trying to catch car. Sorry, 62 cars. I'm getting dyslexic here tonight. But yeah, so those two have that Jimmy Senior special paint scheme. But so it's about go time here though, Dale. So you can see pace car's about to duck off here. It's going to give it to the front row, and I'll say we'll see what kind of teamwork from the teammates we're going to see here tonight. And of course Talladega, you got that third line is going to be an option. So we'll see how quick and early maybe that third line is going to come into play here.
Yeah, everybody's getting in tight, ready to take the green. As it goes green, looks like the top line is going to get the run here on the restart.
Yeah, looks like Duke got on the gas, maybe a little bit quicker. Let's maybe see if he tries to jump down in front of the 88 car of Gabe Butler. Houston. Looks like right off the bat though, that inside line again, that short distance going to be the way to go. So I'd be curious to see. As you can see, they've got the three teammates on the top side, the 8, the 071, and the 54. So I'm curious to see, does that 88, does he try to jump up with his teammates and kind of join their little party there? Or is he going to kind of stick with this inside line? Because obviously that big guy, Dave Wilkinson, doesn't really have anywhere he can go right now, kind of pinned to that bottom line.
Yeah, pinned to the bottom line as they do clear the top line, but Dean's being very aggressive, pushing Gabe Butler early on here to make Gabe lead this first lap.
Yeah, so Dean's one that he's been really stepping up the last few races. Definitely been seeing the pace improve on that 55 car. So not a surprise to see him up front here at the beginning.
Yeah, you see kind of there at the end, just past the start finish line, top line gets a little bit of a run on him. And you'll see it'll be more pronounced here on the backstretch, being, there's no tri-oval or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly right. So obviously the inside line usually has the advantage through the straight or through the turns, just the short distance. But then with the inside has to kind of keep that car pinched to the bottom, and that allows the outside line just to gain that little bit extra momentum. And that's where you see the advantage always seems to happen on the exit of 2 and 4 here. And so, of course, obviously the draft going to play a big role in that as well. As you can see coming out of turn number 4 here, Eric Lorry was pretty much all over the back of the 8 of Duke Conrad here as they come through the tri-oval.
Yeah, and Eric Lorry's no stranger to pushing somebody to the win. You always see these teammates locked on and trying to control both the high and low lane at these big tracks.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So say right now everybody's pretty comfortable. You see the pack split just a little bit here. We've got pretty much all the way back to the 66 of Mike Morrison in this first group here. But then just a little bit off the back, or actually a lot of those guys that are in that LCQ, you see the 24 and the 2, they're locked on trying to chase back that group. So you've got Brandon Byerly, Timothy Wright, James Ledford, Dwight Hush, and Kyle Hess. They're going to try to chase this group back down. They got to make sure they don't fall too far back, though, because it is pretty tough sometimes to get back up there.
I want to talk about this fourth car in line on the bottom row. You got Jim Brooks. You don't usually see him this far up early on in a race.
Yeah, he's usually Mr. Sandbag in these play races, but it looks like he's going to go ahead and start up front and see what he can do here. So like you said, he's right out. Well, it was the fourth car line now, but that's the sixth car line, because actually that outside line is able to get the push there. You seen Dean Wilkinson was actually able to get up to the front there, and then he had Charles Johnson working with him. But as you can see, though, Gabe Butler, he saw his teammates lined up on the top side. He said, "Oh yeah, don't mind if I jump to the top, pick you guys up, and let's get back to the front here."
Yeah, and they'll stay together most of the race, like we talked about. We'll see them pit together. Basically, if one of them goes to the snack bar, they're all going to go.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So yeah, if Gabe or Dude or someone like that maybe planning on having some ice cream pit stops, let's say they're going to be joining the party there as well. So, and actually, as you say that right there, those top two, they're able to clear that front of the 55 machine of Dean Wilkinson. So that's going to now put the 071 of Eric Laurie and the 54 Travis Turnmeyer. They're going to be the top two on the outside line here.
Again, we watched the 88 and the 8 make that move. Eric Laurie and Travis Turnmeyer will be able to do the same thing. Granted they get the right pushes and all that, and then they'll all be lined up there on the bottom line, obviously.
Yeah, exactly right. And obviously, also have some familiar faces with them as well. At 10 of Corey Lane. Corey's also one of those that's pretty quick at a lot of these plate races. He's done some really good pit strategy as well to put himself in contention for some of these races as well. Behind them, though, again, a few new faces that we mentioned. So first up is that 34 car in that Drive to End Hunger Chevrolet. And that is William Sanders there. And then right behind him, I believe, is the 15, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Jeffrey Clifton. So say again, a few new faces. These are guys that are familiar with the Crow's Nest leagues, and of course Jimmy Senior. So say that's why you see a few new faces and names in this race here tonight.
We got a second pack formed up, 5 cars here, starting with Brandon Byerly in that 2 machine.
Yeah, they've been working hard to try to get back up to this lead pack, and looking at the lap times, they're not too far away. They're holding pretty much right on pace with the guys in front of them. I think they just got to that magic window of that distance before you start picking up that draft, so I think their lap time is going to pick up greatly here. And yeah, sure enough, a 47.27, almost a full second faster than those cars in front of them there. And yeah, here you go. You can see them as they start to pick up that draft.
Yeah, now they got to make the decision. Do they hold their momentum and go to the top side, or are they just going to fall in line?
Yeah, so that's the risk versus reward. It's risky near those last kind of couple of cars in the lead pack, because if there's any little hiccup or bobble that doesn't bring out a caution, that's going to be something that makes those guys possibly lose the draft again. So there are definitely 2 trains of thought of where you want to run in these races, and obviously we've mentioned the teammates up front, so that's always been their MO. They're going to lead these races, control up front. They see Eric Laurie's going to lead that lap. He can't quite clear the 88 of Gabe Butler yet. But I say I wouldn't be surprised at some point we see that 071 here lock on and shove their way to the front.
Yeah, just talking about the lap times, looking at Brandon Byerly, he turned the fastest lap of the race of 47.811, about 3/10 faster than the lead pack.
Yeah, and that's just all about that draft. So when you get to that magic point, and say you just really get going there, as again you can see through the turns, you say that inside line again kind of prevails just a little bit. But once they get out of turn number 4, you're going to see the outside line start to kind of push again just a little bit forward here. As we kind of look back from that 071 Eric Laurie as well as Gabe Butler here, as they still stay side by side here as we're starting now lap number 9 of 100.
Yeah, Eric Laurie loses a little bit of ground in the corner on the top side. We talked about they're going to gain a whole bunch here. That 10 car Corey Lane's just glued to the bumper. I'm sorry, that's not the 10. Who is that?
The 54, yeah, but I said the 10
yeah.
is right there too. And that's actually, that's almost as important as that pusher.
42 into the wall in the back.
Oh, let's jump back over to him. Oh yeah, definitely some damage. And I also got the 66. I don't see a caution out as of yet. It's Mike Morrison caught up in this as well. Let's go back and see what happened, because yeah, say obviously some contact there, but somehow no yellow from it. Take a look and see. It looks like it may have actually started up in front of them. Actually, this 66 may have just had something happen. Yeah, the car just kind of drifted up to the wall as if he had damage. Yeah, it catches the 2 and the 42 there. And that's the risk we talked about. You see James Ledford having to make evasive action there to try to avoid that wreck. But now this is going to cost them the lead draft here. And this is exactly what we were worried about there, Dale. You can see it's really split up this group here. You've got the 2. He's kind of off on his own, trying to catch these guys back up. And then you've got a couple guys starting to lock on together. You got the 24 and the 86. Then you got the 48, the 44, and the 42 kind of all off on their own here, unfortunately. So we talked about that risk versus reward of kind of riding in the back for things like that, exactly like that just happened. And so that's what's coming to bite them right off the bat here.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate, you know, a couple cars involved that were just kind of minding their own business and nothing intentional, obviously. It's just luck of the draw.
Yeah, it seemed like the way the 66 Mike Morrison, like the way the car just kind of drifted up to the outside wall, like almost maybe if his wheel lost calibration or just something along those, something odd there. The car just kind of drifted up to the wall as if something just wasn't responding on the wheel. And then unfortunately, just a couple of those guys were just wrong place, wrong time there.
Yeah, but we talked about 2 fast repairs, so if it's too much to fix in the garage or in the pit stall, they'll take a fast repair and give her another shot.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So those obviously do come into handy, or pretty useful to have here. We'll see. It looks like, unfortunate for Mike Morrison, and say may have been some sort of a technical issue, because it looks like he's actually retired from the event as of this moment here. So right now, still have the remaining 29 cars still on the lead lap. However, the 42 car, as I said, Eric Laurie, he's going to jump to the front here. They will see the 88 car. But right now, that 42, though, Justin Addison, he's definitely not in a good spot right now, because he's off on his own, and he's about 30 seconds already behind the leader. So he's also going to be running, actually looks like about 8 seconds off pace with the damage he has as well. So he's going to need a yellow to be able to get himself back into this. Still not a lot of big changes. Right now, one of our biggest movers here, though, is going to be that 12 of Robbie Richards. Find him on track here. Oh, there he is. He's in the Nation's Guard machine, 3rd car in the top line. Robbie started in the 21st position. Right now, he's going to be showing right around the 6th or so spot here on track. So, really a good initial opening stint for Robbie. Seems like he's picked the right lines at the right time, and he's really made a big charge forward here.
Yeah, speaking of right lines at the right time, if you look at that bottom line, we have Travis Kernmeyer, Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler, and Dude Conrad all lined up now.
Yeah, I say the teammate, they've kind of locked on. They've got the inside train going now with each other. So say we're only on lap number 14, coming to 15 by. But we mentioned, Dale, say the fuel window is going to be kind of the question mark for these drivers. What kind of strategy do they do? Do these drivers, do they try to stretch it on fuel to see if they can go maybe as far as they can, or do some of these drivers might just try to split it just a little bit evenly, just maybe try to reduce each pit stop time instead of maybe just the final one? So there's going to be a lot of thoughts here on the pit stop side of things, but probably still got just about 10 laps before we see that come into play.
Yeah, I mean, historically, what we know about these Area 51 races is there's not a whole lot of green-white checker situations. So if I'm out there, I'm gonna be okay with finishing this race with just enough fuel to get across the start-finish line.
Yeah, you can see the heavy damage to that 42 machine. That's why he wasn't able to keep up speed. He went to the apron there to stay out of the way of everybody. So the only problem though with that though is he's still gonna lose the draft of these guys as well. So. But I'm looking a little further back. There's some smart strategy from those other guys that lost the group. the draft there. You can see they've all actually started to try to lock on together here. So you got the 4 of them with the 5th of Brandon Byerly trying to catch back on as well to the tail end there. So say if you get these 4 or 5 cars in draft together, that's going to be the best chance they have of kind of minimizing their time loss to the leaders here. They're still losing about a second a lap, but again, I mean, compared to what we've seen some of the other guys running lap times on their own, it could be much worse there.
Yeah, Brandon Byerly got a little front end damage here, a little left rear too, from that earlier incident. But he's definitely not going to be able to maintain those 4 cars ahead of him.
Yeah, I think he's going to be much faster. Oh, actually, as they say that 071 Eric Lohr, we're getting big trouble here up front. The caution is out. We're getting a lot of cars involved there. And I think it was just, we talked about those temperatures, and I think Eric Lohr just got a little bit too hot, popped the motor right in front of the field. And you can see it took out a lot of contenders, including a couple of his teammates there as well. You see the 8 and the, I think it was the 8 and the 54. No, not the 54. It's the 8 and the 88 there. That got caught up in that. So that's going to bring out our first of the yellow. It's going to be a big break for a couple of those that were either trapped a lap down or also just about to go a lap down if we had stayed green. So let's go back and take a look, though. So we'll watch Eric Lohr, and you can see, I mean, he's actually got a pretty good gap behind the 54 there. But yeah, you can see he's trying to move to the top a little bit, but as soon as that motor blows, he's just right in front of the pack there. Say the 88 and the 8 just know where they can go. And then unfortunately, the 88 comes right across the track, and you see the 21 gets hit. So actually got 2 21 cars here, it looks like. Also the 46 involved as well. Looks like the 62 and the 13 as well. So yeah, a lot of cars caught up in this one. Also the 15, it looks like got some damage as well. So going to be a lot of fast repairs just right off the bat here, Dale. Just with that incident there, unfortunately, just right at the very front end of the pack, there's not much you can do about that.
Yeah, and like we talked about, it's real easy to get lost in what you're doing and stop paying attention to those gauges, and I think that's what's happened here. Another thing worth mentioning, when these cars, you know, if they hit in the 300s, they can pretty much go any time after that. So you just have to get up there one time, and then after that, it's kind of luck.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I remember you had mentioned that to me on a different situation before, where you're exactly right. If you get that temperature up and over 300 degrees, it'll recover that one time. But if you get that temperature, it could, like you said, it could go at any time. So you get that temperature a little bit too hot, maybe about 5 laps later, it might not let you get up to that high of a temperature. It might pop the motor right off the bat. So yeah, it's a very risky call here. You see, a little bit of trouble there for 55 there on the pit exit. I think he lost traction there, trying to win that race out of the pits there. But yeah, so we're gonna see a lot of fast repairs. We saw the 8 car, Dude Conrad. He went ahead and got his taken care of. 88, obviously, he's gonna. Well, actually, no, he's still in the pits here. So I think Gabe is gonna try to maybe see if he can get it fixed manually. I believe. So I'm trying to look for his pit stop time here. Oh, actually, no, I think he's just really slow to get in his pits, actually. I think he's just that far off the pack.
Yeah, looking at that 55, you had a little contact with the inside wall there coming out of the pit. Doesn't look like too much damage, if any. I don't think we'll see him take any kind of action to repair it.
Yeah, it looks like he'll be all right here. And then, yeah, see 071 Eric Lohr, he is back on track as well. He was able to get in and out there after the motor blew without losing laps. So it's a big break for Eric as well there. So again, unfortunately, a lot of cars involved in this one having to most likely take fast repairs. A few drivers did opt to get damage repaired manually. 34 of William Sanders was one. You can see he actually had a 39-second pit stop in that 34 machine. And also the 46 here, David Overstreet, I think he's going to have to take a fast repair, because I don't know if he realizes, but he is missing that whole hood on that car. So yeah, so I think David's going to most likely need to use that, try to get it done manually. But I mean, if you're missing the whole hood of your car, I don't feel too confident about that.
No, there's 2 effects that has. So the way these cup cars are structured now, that void under the hood, you know, you got the engine all that in there, but you also have a big air pocket. And when that hood's there and you have that front splitter, that'll allow you to suction to the track. And that's where these cars really get their grip nowadays. So with that hood there, that's not going to happen. The other thing is, obviously, the loss, you know, there's a drag issue thrown into play. There's no way he'll keep anywhere near the pace with what he's got right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna hit the picks here again. So we'll see if that's maybe to try to do a little bit more repairs or just to go ahead and get that fast repair done. Got a few drivers actually. Joe Delavecchi, he was up towards the front of the field and he went ahead and pitted here as well. Les Levy's in again as well. And this might be some of these drivers just wanting to also even just fall to the back of the pack here, just to, if they had to burn one of those fast repairs. Again, this also really changes your pit strategy as well.
Yeah, David Overstreet pulls in, uses that fast repair. Going to take at least left sides, and then takes left sides only, and I'm sorry, right sides, and is off and away.
Yeah, I think that's the right call for David. I say, and that's the thing is you take the gamble, you see if you can maybe get the damage repaired manually, but in a situation like that, there's no way. So right, he definitely made the right call, took a risk and tried to see if he could get it repaired. Obviously wasn't going to be feasible to do, so he went ahead and used that first fast repair on that car, and is going to be back out on track. So I would say we still have 28 on the lead lap here, Dale. The only one that's right now lapped down is the 42 of Justin Adamson, which I say he's actually still in the pits here. I'm not sure what's going on with him. I actually thought he was going to be able to get the wave around there and get back on the lead lap, but this caution definitely hasn't fallen to plan for that 42 car.
Yeah, not sure what happened. As
he looks like he may have
retired.
retired. Yeah, so unfortunately may have retired already. So it's going to be two drivers retired here early on, Mike Morrison being the other. So right now 28 cars remaining in the event. We still have what do we have? 82 laps. We're going to restart here with 81 to go. And so this is going to be another interesting thing, though, Dale, is we talked about the potential of the fuel windows here. I think this would put it out of reach for a two-stopper to the end. But I think this might be about a three-stopper if you kind of split it in the, what do you call it, the 20-40-60, if you will.
Yeah, I don't think it's a horrible time for a caution. I mean, we don't want to see a bunch of cars junked up, obviously, but I don't think it's a horrible time in a race for a caution to come out because guys were getting to that first fuel window. Definitely affects the, maybe whatever plans they might have had in their head, but guys were coming to pit within the next few laps, I suspect, anyways.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So the other thing this does is it breaks up those teammates up front. So Travis Turnmeyer, he's kind of off in his zone here, leading the way on this restart. As you can see, he takes the green. He's got the 10 of 40 to his outside. And I'll say right behind, though, that 54 is that 55, Dean Wilkinson. We've talked about how fast Dean has been week in and week out. So as well, Charles Johnson, he's going to pick up the outside line. We say one guy we haven't really talked about is Brendan Patalacqua. He's just kind of been biding his time, keeping that car clean. So he's right there in that top 10 here as well.
Yeah, talk about Corey Lane for a second. All these guys, we got guys, had a gentleman from Canada. Everybody else is pretty much from the U.S. Corey Lane is from Australia. So this, lines up with pretty much everybody else's time zone but his, and he's able to make a showing and support the cause here.
Yeah, so Corey's definitely one of the dedicated drivers here. So he's always pretty much a day and then some ahead of us. So I guess usually I try to check with him. It's like, all right, what day, what time is it for you there? So I want to say Corey might be in New Zealand if I'm not mistaken. And I think for them they're even a little bit further ahead as they're kind of off just a little bit east of Australia there, if my geography is correct. But yeah, so been pretty cool to see him up here as well. And also we got to mention though, Dale, our from the heat race, that 21 car, Daniel Holloway, he's right now in the thick of things as well, now up into that top 10. Also going to give a shout out, Bud, as I just saw you here in the chat. Yeah, I definitely hope you are doing well, recovering well as well. Look forward to seeing you back on track once you're 100%. But yeah, definitely glad to see you back on the chat at least. And I say obviously miss seeing you out on track. We know you'd be kind of beating up on these guys with your strategies that we know you love to kind of have your game plan at the beginning of the race. And so, yeah, hopefully see you back on track here soon. And yeah, definitely get better soon and look forward to seeing you on track here.
Travis Turnmeyer and D. Wilkinson got a little run on that bottom line. They're going to pull out 2 cars ahead as the top line starts to reel them into the back of, or to the end of the backstretch.
Yeah, so this is going to be where that strategy kind of comes back into play. And actually, looking back, wasting no time. He was in that last incident. So he's already right back in the top 10 as well. Here you see Charles Johnson. He's jumped to the top side. So not sure if that's to make it pass or that number 9 car may have been getting a little bit hot. He had to jump out of it. And saying that, again, these drivers might get a little bit more gun shy after seeing what happened to that's 071 of Eric Laurie as well. So you see Charles, it looks like he's going to have to go pretty much all the way to the back of the fall into here.
Yeah, and that's a quick way to use positions here at these big tracks is have to step out of line to cool the engine down or get shuffled out of line and just no place to go.
Yeah, he's pretty much making his way to the last kind of third of the field there. So I said, we'll see if anybody's going to make the top line happen. You see one jump to the top there. I don't think they're going to stick with it. They're trying to catch which car that was. That's John Brill in the 26 machine. Okay. Let's say, yeah. I say John's another one of those guys. I say usually we see John just kind of cruising in the back and just biding his time, but I say he's right here in the mix of things here. So I think that's what's kind of fun about these guys is in these kind of events that they have is they can kind of go off their normal strategies here and kind of just try to have some fun with it and see what they can make happen.
Yeah, it's fun to see. It's fun to see. Like I say, Jim Brooks again up into that 4th position as a wreck on the back.
Yeah.
Eric Laurie involved again.
Yeah, Eric's caught in somehow stayed green. Joe Della Vecchia got caught up in that as well. But I think you're right, though. It looks like the 13 actually also caught up. Oh, heavy damage for the 13 at Hilton Young. And then you mentioned that was setting under Eric Laurie. So this is going to probably be it for Eric, unfortunately. So those are 2 quick incidents for him. Let's go back and see how this all unfolded there.
And the 55, Travis Turnmeyer just blew a motor.
Oh, yeah, I see him hitting the pits. We'll jump and we'll take a look at that afterwards as well. So you can see the 131, I should say, Craig Forsyth. Oh, and I think I see right there. It looks like Craig drifted up just a little bit there off of turn number 4 or turn number 2. And actually looks like the 26 kind of came down a little bit and just really actually Eric Laurie he was kind of between just a bad spot there between those two. And yeah, you see that 71, he makes contact to the inside with the 13 car. That's where those two went for a ride. Unfortunate to the inside. Heavy hits for both those cars there. Did a little bit of flip over for that 13 as well. So then you mentioned though Travis Turnmeyer in the 55. We'll jump over to him here. The break goes for Travis, I think, as we'll watch him coming out of turn number 4 here. Oh, you're right. Just blows up right on the exit of 4. Just was lucky enough to be able to jump to the inside. The break for him was, I think, I'm not sure if he's able to get down to pit speed or not, but he might be able to get away with this.
Yeah, definitely going to change things. You got Stu Conrad up here running 3rd, running 2nd now. Just lost quite a few teammates in that.
Yeah, I'd say the field's broken up again, and saying through all that craziness, the 83 Jason Spear, he's taken over the point now in that black plate on the sideline here. So yeah, so say that things definitely kicking off quickly. Got a lot of drivers right now. Dean Wilkinson, Joe Della Vecchia, Hilton Young, Eric Laurie. Eric's actually able to get back out on track now, as is the 13. So those 2 drivers getting back out on track here. They're both 1 down at the moment, about to go 2 down as the leaders are coming around by. But what's happened though is that again the second pack getting broken up from this Dwight Plush though. He's the one now leading. It's a decent sized group though. I mean they've got. Oh, actually I see some smoke. Yeah, I see trouble. Oh, big wreck.
Started with that 26 car, it looks like.
Yeah, oh, Jim Brooks involved in it. Heavy damage to him. So yeah, that's going to put the caution out. Yeah, you're right. The 26 also involved here as well. Yeah, you see John Brill down to the inside line. He's actually went ahead and took a tow there. So let's go see what happened here. This is going to be a break for a couple of drivers. We mentioned that we're about to get lapped there. So let's go see what brought out this this second caution here. All right, so we see that. Oh, let's jump over to 26. We think it may have started just around him. I see John Brill trying to get up, I think, in front of Gabe Butler. Maybe try to lead that top line. Just didn't time it well. And then, unfortunately, just right into the side of Travis Turnmeyer. Nothing Travis can do there. Just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And then, unfortunately for Travis, comes right up into the path of Jim Brooks. Craig Forsyth also takes a hit, as is the number 2 machine. Trying to catch all the car numbers here, sorry. So yeah, so those are the 3 primarily impacted. 76 Jim Brooks definitely getting the worst of it there. So Brandon Byerly in the 2 machine, apologies. But yeah, you see Jim getting by far the worst of it out of that one. Although the 2 looks like he's missing the front clip of his machine. So Yeah, a lot of damaged cars here. But I think that caution was just in the nick of time for Eric Laurie and Hilton Young, because both those cars have stayed on the lead lap, it looks like. Or, sorry, were able to not go a second lap down, I should say.
Yeah, Eric should be able to get his lap back here, and Hilton Young, I imagine, will take a wave around.
Yeah, that'll be the question, is which of those were in front of the other there at the time of the caution. But you're right, say one could get the wave around, one can stay out and get the lap back that way. So looks like the field pretty much I think everybody's going to hit the pits, which will allow for that wave around to happen here as well. So we'll see. So you see Eric Laurie, he's coming around track, and I think this is going to be Eric. That'll be his second faster pair. So he's going to be out of them if it was the two faster pairs. And it looks like Eric's going pretty much full speed here around the pace car. As I said, he checks up big there. There he goes. He's passing the pace car. So yeah, Eric is going to be the lucky dog, which should open up the door here for the 13 to stay out here and get that wave around on the one to go.
Yeah, big break, like you said, for both of those cars. Just everything happened. Unfortunately, everything happened, but it happened at the right time to get both these drivers back on the lead lap.
Yeah, exactly right. So, I mean, it's unfortunate what happened to him, but yeah, say if it could happen, that's probably about the best way you could hope for. So right now, so that's going to be Hilton Young there in the 13 machine. So you can see he's going to cycle in front of those cars in front of him, and so he'll be able, as long as he doesn't pit, he should be good to go. as I see the 8 there of Dude Conrad taking out maybe some frustration on the pit exit cone there, unfortunately. So say beating up on that defenseless pit cone there. So. He looks like Dude's going to come out in, I believe, second place. Actually, no, third place, I apologize, over the drivers that pitted there. Corey Lane going to be the first one out of the pits there.
We've seen Dude do that in the past, though. I don't know what the deal is with him in that backstretch cone, but he definitely takes that thing out about every opportunity you get.
I have an idea. Let's put that man on the spot here. So we're going to pull in that. Oops, I got the wrong driver there. All right, so we're going to pull in that number 8 of Dude Conrad. We got a question for you, Dude. What do you got against the pit exit cone, my man?
It's a long story. We had an incident one night in Area 51, but I had a new rule the next week. We couldn't hit it anymore. Figured I'd hit it for old time's sake.
We was talking. We had seen you do it in the past, but I hadn't considered it. We hadn't seen it in quite a while, but we definitely took notice today.
Y'all see that race off pit road? How about that?
I have to go back because they actually missed it, so we'll jump back and we'll watch this battle off the pit road there. Oh yeah, you're right, a 3-wide battle here. Let's jump over to that pit exit line here. Oh yeah, Corey Lane by just a nose there over the 21 car. Then say we got a nice shot of your Yorkville machine coming through the pits as well. So say obviously not the ideal start for you and your teammates here. So we got the one to go, so I don't want to take away too much of your time. So say, are you guys going to try to regroup together, or what's the strategy now to try to get hooked back up here?
We'll find each other. Main thing is to keep Jimmy and his family in y'all's prayers. We've had a many a night racing with Jimmy Crow Sr. Had a bunch of fun, had a ball. Said that he's taken away from us, but we'll move on.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So yeah, definitely he meant a lot to a lot of these drivers. So it's fun to see you guys put something on for him tonight. So say good luck, and I say we'll keep an eye on you, see if you beat up on that cone again here, come out of 2. But say look forward to catching you the rest of this race.
Thank you.
Oh, there goes the cone. Yep, no mercy.
No mercy. We're gonna have to get a dedicated camera to these pit exit cones. Keep an eye on it.
Yeah, say we'll call it the Dude Cam. That'll be the cone cam for him. All right, so lights are off on the pace car. We're going to get things going again here. It does look like John Brill, I actually see Dean Wilkinson sitting in the pits again as well in the 55 machine, so maybe actually did not retire. I am showing the 34 now. William Sanders possibly retiring from the event as well, along with that 052 Joe De La Vecchia, unfortunately. So right now showing about 24 on the lead lap here. Also got to note that the 76 Jim Brooks was able to stay on the lead lap after the damage from that incident, so he's going to be back in the pack, but still in contention here. So again, still a long ways to go here, Dale. 70 laps to go on this restart. So it's going to be curious to see if this is going to maybe change any of the pit windows, because we did see a lot of guys that are top off on the on this coming to the one go.
Yeah, namely Dude Conrad and company, his entire team topped off, so they're back on the same strategy.
So that might be the way they try to find each other, and then this might be the pit strategy that they've been looking for. However, friend though, Corey Lane, he's going to lead this restart. He's got Daniel Holloway to his outside there. And you got Mickey Spear behind him, David Overstreet in that 4th position.
The 3rd car in line, that 29 car, Brendan Pasalacqua, and he was starting to make a move to the high side there before that last caution. So interested to see if he jumped back up there and tried to move again.
Yeah, actually, at the beginning of the race, I actually thought the 21, that 21 Ford Performance car, I thought that was Brandon. Just from the paint scheme. But yeah, and actually you see one drop into the inside there pretty abruptly. I think that was the 15 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Jeffrey Clifton. This is where you got to be careful though, so you can easily lose the draft if you don't get up to speed quick enough. And I'm looking at his speed compared to the rest of the leaders here, and I don't think he's going to be able to hang on here.
No, yeah, I mean, they're just yarding him so bad coming off the turn here. I don't think he's keeping the draft at all.
Yeah, so that's that risk versus war. I understand you wanting to get to the back, but every time I feel like I've seen people drop to the aprons and do that, they just always seem to lose the draft here. So he's going to have to, I say again, not going to be something you want to hope for, but he might have to be hoping for a yellow to be able to get back. I say right now, I mean, he's definitely going to be out of that lead pack.
Making moves early on. We've talked about him a ton today, but Dude Conrad and Gabe Butler going to the outside 3 wide to head to the front.
Yeah, I think them trying to see what they can do with just the 2 of them. I say right now, actually, as we get, like I said, trouble right up front, so they're going to try to avoid it. Looks like they just sneak by here, but we're going to have another caution coming out. So it looked like the 83 may have got turned on the entry there. And unfortunately, again, I see that 071 Eric Laurie gets caught up in yet another incident. So I say that car is going to definitely be in some rough shape. Also the 62 there, Les Levy, I believe, getting caught up in that one as well. So I say let's go back and see what all brought this out. Actually, it looks like it was the 63. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure if he got loose on the entry from the push from the 9 or if he tried to clear himself, just wasn't clear. Sorry, the 83, apologies, of Jason Spear. But yeah, that collected a handful of cars along with him there. We mentioned the 62 also getting caught up in that one. Also saw the 54, Travis Turnmeyer. He took a pretty good shot as well. You see Jim Brooks trying to find a way through. Oh, he just gets into the back of the 62 as well there, so going to be some more damage for him. But I'm trying to see, there was some other cars up front there as well that were caught up in that one. And I wasn't actually showing any of it, so I can do it one more time here and pretend like I know what I'm doing, Dale. Alright, so we're going to start with the 83 car. You see he's getting a big push from Charles Johnson here entering turn number 3. And you can see, yeah, he just starts coming down. And I'm not sure if he thought he was clear or not, but unfortunately, like I mentioned, just was not clear of that 21 machine. And unfortunately, it spins him right across the front of the pack there. You can see, and of course, the two cars with the Jimmy Senior paint schemes, the 62, 46, they actually make contact with each other, as you can see. That 3 wide move though by the 8 and the 88 though, that actually kind of worked out well for them. Then you can see a lot of these other cars getting involved there. You see the 54, the 48, the 86 as well. So yeah, definitely a lot of cars caught up in this one here.
Yeah, and it's a real tough for Eric Laurie. Eric Laurie was doing everything he could to not be involved in that, and just got a little bit, as the I believe it was the 83 came off the wall. Looking at him now, I think they're going to be able to hammer that car out a little bit. I don't suspect it's going to affect him too much, but what does worry me is that front grille area.
Yeah, he may not be a very good pusher anymore. It's going to definitely be something to keep an eye on. Looks like only a couple drivers decided to stay out this time. Looks like the top 3 stayed out. And again, that driver we mentioned that we were worried about him maybe losing the draft, that actually worked out perfectly for him because he was far enough back where he didn't have to actually get caught up in that one. So, yeah, so again, another lucky break for that driver in the back as well. So, Do see John Brill. John Brill's going to get one of his 2 laps back, so he's going to be pretty close to back in contention here. And I do see a lot of drivers here going and opting for a long pit stops. Brandon Pasalaco was one. He had a 47-second pit stop getting damage repaired. And actually only a 28-second stop for Travis Turnmeyer. So a 54 car may not be in as bad of shape as I thought, and may not have to burn a fast repair on his car as well.
Yeah, you talk about it. We know Eric Lorry's out of fast repair. I'm looking at Jim Brooks' car. It looks like he may have took one. I'm not sure if he did or not, but he may be out of fast repairs as well.
Yeah, so I see a lot of drivers in the pits here also still getting damage repairs to their car. Looks like Mickey Spear just finished his. It's about an 86-second pit stop for him. Dwight Plesh had a pit stop about 75 seconds in that 44 car. So a lot of these drivers definitely opting to try to get all of the damage they can or get repaired manually. You see Roy Grandy, he's in the same boat there in the 18 as I just saw. I believe that was Les Levy sneaking out in front of him. So yeah, Les definitely still some pretty significant damage, actually missing the whole rear deck lid of that 62 machine. So I'd say the front of the car doesn't look too bad. That back end does. So from what we're seeing here, he's got no rear spoiler on that car.
Yeah, and that's tough. He'll probably maintain the draft with a good front end, but guys get nervous about pushing somebody when they don't have any sheet metal back there, or visually they don't have anything in the game simulator. It's kind of nerve-wracking for whoever's trying to push you up. At least it is for me.
Yeah, you worry if you're pushing anything back there. So looks like we do have the 1 to green, so that's going to put Charles Johnson in control of this one. Again, only 3 drivers there opted to stay out. That is the 9, the 2, and the 13. So we'll see what the strategy is on these ones. I'll say the rest of the field here, pretty much fuel only for those that were in a good position. And then, of course, as I mentioned, a lot of cars getting some damage repairs. Again, a lot of cars here, again, once more pitting on this one to go to top off on fuel here. As we're going to restart this one with 65 laps to go.
Restarted 65 to go, 24 out of 30 on the lead lap, so still a healthy field here. And again, I think with the quick succession of those cautions, we're going to see guys kind of step it back a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's where drivers kind of regroup a little bit. Like, all right, this maybe a little bit more than we were anticipating. So, yeah, looking at Les Levy, he opted to stay out here. Not sure if he had any more damage to repair, if that was going to be everything. So, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that 62 is able to hang on with the rear end damage. Looking at Roy Grandy in the 18 car, he's still got a little bit of right front damage to his machine as well. I think he'll be all right. He can probably push pretty decently, but I do not think he's going to be able to lead that pack with that nose damage as well. And yeah, like you mentioned, Eric Laurie, that car is looking, again, that nose is definitely crumpled in a little bit there. So he's just going to have to really keep an eye on those temperatures. I think that's going to be kind of goal number 1, I think, for him.
Yeah, and you don't know. I mean, you can look at it visually, but you really don't know how it's going to affect you on the temperature side until you get moving and get behind somebody. So he's definitely going to have to test that out. Yeah,
you see everybody's trying to get reorganized here for this restart. Again, that 3-wide move, though, by Gabe Butler and Jude Conrad really worked out for them. They were able to sneak around that incident before it happened, and kind of it would have been right where they were had they not got to the top side. So say a good break for them. Say Charles Johnson, though, he's going to lead this restart again. 65 to go at the line here. Say still not quite halfway in this one. So, like I said, I think with these couple successive cautions, I think this will probably have drivers kind of regroup a little bit and kind of maybe ease off just a little bit until the race gets towards the closing distance of this one.
Charles Johnson restarting first, elected to go on the green flag.
Yeah,
different strategies come into play on that, and he kind of caught that top line off guard by doing that, it looks like.
Yeah, so 13 is able to get to him pretty quickly. One thing that has done, though, with that caution is it has separated the 8 and the 88, so we'll see how that's going to pan out. However, though, up front, though, you can see, though, that outside line really starting to form and it's making a big push down the backstretch. Yeah, looks like Corey Lane able to push Brandon Byerly now into the front. So that's going to have Corey Lane be the top leader of the top side for the moment. We'll see if Charles maybe clears himself and tries to get back to the top, but right now it looks like they're going to stay 2x2 up front here. Looks like Brandon Byerly going to lead this lap, but Corey Lane starting to get a big push from that 88 of Gabe Butler.
Yeah, Gabe's no stranger at all to pushing guys up here on the top side to the lead, so he's going to get him clear without a doubt.
Yeah, so I think what we'll see is, like you said, that big exit. I suspect we'll see off of 2. You can already see Corey's got a bit of an advantage, and say, yeah, he's going to drop to the inside. That's going to give Gabe. Look at the momentum. Even Gabe was able to kind of get side by side with him. Now he gets a big push from Daniel Holloway, and he just about cleared that 10 car going into turn number 3.
Yeah, just kind of shuffling the deck out front's what we're seeing now. You know, one guy gets clear, drops down, the next guy comes up.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So say right now, though, Daniel Holloway giving Gabe all the push he can handle. And I think it's going to be the same thing. I think Gabe's going to be able to clear that 10 car here through the start-finish line. We'll see if Gabe takes it or not. It looks like he's kind of peeking. Oh, actually, they both clear that 10 car. So big push there. Daniel Holloway, really good job able to clear the both of them there entering turn number 1.
Yeah, he waited till they could both clear. You know, he got pushed up to the front and just kind of paid him a little bit of respect, I guess, by making sure they both cleared to get him down in front.
Yeah, and you're definitely right. So right now, it looks like about 2 different packs here. You see this first pack right now. Eric Corey is able to hang on to this pack, so that's a good break for him that he's able to lead this or be part of this main group. You see that second group kind of falling off just a little bit here. The one car I do want to try to keep an eye on is that 62 Les Levy, and it looks like he's actually hanging on to that draft within pretty decently here. Although I think that's the 21 car, I think it's actually a 25. Mickey Spear, I don't know if Mickey's up to speed because you see this pack just doesn't seem like they have the full steam that they need. You can see this, the 76 and the 17 Jim Brooks and Ryan Kelly, they're able to pretty much tandem up. They're going to catch this lead pack with no problems here. And so I think that might show there is maybe a little bit of damage to that chrome number 21 machine there, the Ford Performance car for Mickey Spear, because it just doesn't seem like he's able to pull up as well as he should be able to. But that also might just be due to him not getting a push that he needs from the 62 as well.
Yeah, they're not very well formed. You know, there's quite a bit of gap between each car back there. And that's tough. You want to get everybody as close as they can without touching and push up here and catch this lead pack.
Yeah, it just seems like the 21 can't suck up to the 15. You see the 15 actually on his own is starting to gap that 21 machine as well. So that's Jeffrey Clifton in the 15 that's able to start separating himself from those guys. So Jeffrey's going to hope that he can get close enough to the cars in front there, notably the 17 of Ryan Kelly, to be able to try to grab back onto this lead pack, because at this rate, just doesn't look like that second group's going to be able to hold on to that top end.
Yeah, and that 21 may be a great pusher. I mean, it get somebody, you have that 44 get out there in front of him with no damage, and as the 44 does go to the highest side, he may be able to push him up there, but he's just not the lead car.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he can lead it. As you can see, 44, 48 looks like actually the whole group's gonna kind of team up with them on the top side here. So we'll see if Dwight and James can maybe do something on the top side and get around these guys. Was a really good job though by the 15 though, again, of Jeffrey Clifton. He is able to catch that lead patch. That's a big break for him, because it's like he's gonna see that group behind starting to kind of fade in his mirror. So he's gonna be feeling pretty good about that move he made.
Yeah, I talked earlier about the 29 of Brandon Paslak, had just started to work the high side. He's up there again behind that 8 car, trying to make a move to the front.
Yeah, you see the 8 and 88 haven't been able to get back together yet. As I said, actually the 88's his back to the front though. He's leading the outside line, back to the inside line leading. We got Charles Johnson on the outside line, and he's got Robbie Richards with him. We mentioned Robbie earlier, one of those ones making some pretty big moves right off the bat here. So these guys are definitely doing what they need to do to get back to the front. As you can see, gets a big push down the backstretch. Charles can't quite clear that number 88 car entering turn number 3. As you can see, the separation between the 12 and the 9 compared to the 88 and the 21, it's a big gap between the two of them.
Yeah, still a lot of moving around up front, and a couple drivers back here as the 13 kind of clips the apron have, realized what's going on. Jim Brooks and I can't tell who's in front of him there, but they were up in the pack. They drafted up in the pack and have kind of fallen back out of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's the 24 Timothy Ryan. Yeah. I mean, there's gonna be some drivers that just are probably out of fast repairs, and so I do think the 76 of Jim Brooks is one of those that is out of fast repairs on his machine. Same goes for Eric Laurie. Say Eric's maybe I wouldn't say tempting fate, but say definitely isn't going full ride like some of the other guys are here. So it's working out pretty decently for them. And I think I say, and actually noticing that the pack's kind of shooken up again a little bit. As you can see, actually, it looks like we talked about those three that were trying to work the top side: Dwight Plesh, James Ledford, and Kyle Hess. They're going to catch this lead pack again. What this has done, though, is it's left the 21 of Mickey Spear. He's kind of off on his own now with the 26 of John Brill. But then, unfortunately, though, Les Levy, that car looks like he's fallen off the back. He's lost that draft completely now. So he's going to be hurt. He's definitely hurting for speed. Looks like almost about 5 seconds a lap slower than the lead pack right now.
Yeah, it's not going to take long to get caught back up, and that's a sketchy situation in itself. The leader's trying to work around lap traffic.
Yeah, so the question for Les is if he does have a fast turn, he's just trying to save it and hoping that he could hold on to the draft. So we'll keep an eye, obviously, for a next round of pit stops if he is able to get that fast repair taken care of or not. So up front, though, things have actually gotten a little strung out here. You can see now you got Charles Johnson leading the way. He's got that 88 Gabe Butler, Daniel Holloway, Corey Lane. Those guys all lined up here on the inside line. And you can see Duke Conrad trying to make the top line work in the 8 car, but just has no help. He's going to fall right in behind that 15 of Hilton Young, right in front of that 46 of David Overstreet.
Yeah, not something you really see a whole lot here. You know, guys kind of single out in the front pack, but they did there for about a lap, and now we got cars jumping back to the high side trying to make moves.
Yeah, so there's definitely the temptation. You see the 10 of Corey Lane. He's decided he wants to try to make the top line happen, and you can see it pretty much as soon as someone sees the opening, and here they go. And so that's exactly what you'll see is once that momentum happens, you're going to see someone jump to the top with them, and that's what you're seeing here. We saw the 10 of Corey Lane. He was showing he wanted to go top. And then finally, Daniel Holloway said, "Okay, I see you. Let's do it." And then Duke Conrad, wasting no time. He's going to follow along as well there. As you see, a little bit of movement there though on the inside line. The outside line had to really wash up to avoid them.
Yeah, I noticed there's the 88 cars kind of staying off of Charles Johnson a little bit. There's another one trying to get his teammate up there behind him. I suspect that he's going to drop down in front here. There he goes.
Yeah, there he goes. Yep. Yeah. So you're right though. They are getting a little bit dicier than they probably want to be right here. So a lot of movement going on here on track. And say one thing to also mention though is we talked about those drivers that stayed out that little bit longer. The 9 of Charles Johnson. He's one of those drivers that did not pit on that last caution. So he's got about 5 laps less fuel than those in front of him, or than those behind him. That's the 13 of Hilton Young. Hilton's last pit about 23 laps ago. So I would suspect that 13 is going to have to pit here in probably about 2 to 3 more laps, I would suspect.
Yeah, Charles Johnson's definitely going to have to pit as he gets swallowed up by the teammate.
They said they'd find each other, and they have. I say they're going to try to push the both of them, and they do. They're going to get back to the front. Oh, big movement on the outside line. You see Eric Laurie had to get to the apron. He's going to try to hang on to it. You can see him drifting it. I think he's getting loose there off of 4. Oh, good hands, Eric Laurie.
That is a wheel man if you've ever seen one.
I'll say it hurts because you lose the draft there, but that could have been so much worse there. So yeah, great job by Eric. I don't know how he hung on to that one. That thing was tank slapping everywhere, but he's able to hang on to that machine. So again, that's going to really spread this front group out though again. So I mean, pretty much the whole field for the most part running single file with that happening. So and again, like I mentioned, pit stop's not too far away for a few of these drivers. The 13, I think, is going to be the first of those that's going to have to blink. As I say that, he's jumping to the top side here. So maybe he's feeling like he's got a little bit more fuel in store than he might actually have.
Yeah, you know, he hasn't. Charles Johnson, we know, has led quite a few laps this run. The 13 knows kind of been all over the place as far as, you know, following, pushing, all that. So he might be a little better on fuel.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely could be saving a lot during the cautions. You can definitely save fuel. He's on lap number 25 now. And so again, it just really depends on what the fuel window is. So, we're not 100% sure if it's a full fuel load. But yeah, so right now though, you can see though, That 13 trying to hook up now with the 9 car, but as they do that, though, that's opened the door for that 46 you saw wasting no time. David Overstreet tried to sneak through there, but couldn't quite get it done. Charles Johnson, though, he's going to sneak back in. I see that's pushing that 13 car out of the sleep pack right here.
Yeah, they had to check out for him. He's way slower than everybody else. Is something you don't see every day. Jim Brooks taking him 3 wide on the outside.
Oh, I think he maybe was having to make a late pit stop there, and you can see just completely overshot this one. You say he's coming in about 150, so I don't even think he's not even going to be able to make his pit stall there, so he's going to get back out on track here. Hopefully he has enough fuel to make it back around. But yeah, I think that was the 88. I think he made it right to the top, not realizing where he was on that fuel window, because right now he is on lap number 26 of his run, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And actually, yeah, it looks like he had to take a tow there in the 13 car, so based on that, I mean, that tells me about 20 in the low 20s, maybe low to mid 20s on fuel. So that's going to make me start watching that 9 of Charles Johnson. Also got to mention the 2 of Brandon Byerly also stayed out that last yellow. So we'll have to be watching that 2 and the 9 to see when they got to start making their pit stop strategies.
Yeah, everybody's watching all the movement that's happening. We're pretty much single file with the exception of 2 cars all the way back.
Yes, and the ones that are peeking out aren't really doing it too seriously at the moment. I think the 15 now we're starting to really think about it. We just crossed the halfway point in this race here, so we do have 50 to go, and that might be, I mean, if that magic number is around that 50 or 25 lap mark, this might be it where you can pit here in the next lap or 2 and be able to make it on one more stop. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, as it looks like the 13 may have retired from the event himself, unfortunately. Again, just I think he may have ran that car out of fuel. As you can see, actually, Levy here. I'll say Les got to be careful. He's going to probably need to try to get to the very, very top here. He does. So I'll say again, I think that's what Les now is going to be hoping for, as well as to try to be in a good spot to try to see if he can get that, hopefully get a fast repair on that car if he has one available still. So, and of course, also going to need a break here to try to get that lucky dog, because he's going to be competing with the 18 and the 26 for that lucky dog position.
Yeah, I suspect, just looking at everything, Charles Johnson is going to have to come here. I'm surprised he hasn't yet. Lap 24 of this fuel run, but he's going to have to come very soon.
Yeah, I say if not this lap, possibly next time by. I say obviously Charles is going to try to stretch it every lap he can, because the more he can have to the good, the better. Say if we do see 25, 26 laps, and that's just with that's even including caution laps, that's going to make it a little bit less, even with the with the green flag racing that we've got going right here. So yeah, he's got to be careful, and I mean right now he's in a good spot here. He can definitely save a lot of fuel where he's at on track here. But now the next, of course, question is he going to have any friends that come with him in the pits when he doesn't make that stop just a lap or 2, or actually I say probably a lap or 5 earlier than the leaders up front.
Yeah, and he'll have one. You know, the Brandon Byerly is going to have to come about the same time as Charles Johnson. So I suspect he's going to have one.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe Mike trying to. Obviously, I'm not listening to the driver radio, but might be trying to make some deals with some of his teammates or some friends and say, "Hey, I got to pay here pretty soon. Why don't you guys come with me?" But as I say that, though, Charles stays out again, so this is going to be starting lap number 26 for him since his last fuel stop. And that was about the time I think we saw that 13 jump in, as well as around 26 laps into his fuel run. So we'll have to wait and see. It's probably getting pretty close to time for that 9 machine.
Yeah, pretty much everybody else is on lap 20 or 21. They're going to definitely, be able to stretch it out a little longer and gain a huge advantage in that, because obviously there's going to be a larger pack for a longer period of time, and maybe 2 or 3 cars that go with Charles Johnson just will not be as fast.
Yeah, and the other big thing is just the entry negs. You see a couple cars jump to the top. I think we're but here they come. Well, here are a couple. So he's able to bring. Oh, actually, it looks like Byerly does not pit. So he's going to have his admin teammate, if you will, Jim Brooks. Jim's going to come in and pits with him, but it's just going to be the 2 of them. Actually, no, here comes the 2 car. He was actually just far off the draft, unfortunately, for Brandon Byerly there. So those 2 are going to hit the pits together here. So now the goal for them is they need to come out together. If they don't, that's going to really hurt their chances, because you gotta pretty much lock on with each other right away. Now the next question, though, Dale, is going to be: does anybody else react to this, or with it just being the 2 of them, they're probably going to stick with their own strategy here? I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think everybody else is going to stick with their own strategy. Called by the 9 and the 7016. Both of them took the left side tires only on that stop.
Yeah, it looks like they've been able to get out together as well. So that's gonna be kind of job number one for them is to get that good pit stop and come out together. Now they just gotta make sure that they get through turn 1 and 2 cleanly on the apron, because that track gets very slippery on the apron, especially on just 2 tires. So, but if they can do that and stay locked on together, this could really help their chances of staying with this lead pack after this pit stop cycle.
Yeah, Jim's having no problem catching back up. Charles might be sandbagging a little bit to make that happen, but they're going to link up nose to tail and gain all the time they can.
Yeah, and the other thing this does too is it keeps them on the lead lap as well, so that's going to be the next thing. As you can see, it looks like now the 17, the Ryan Kelly, he's starting to make his move, pushing that 24 of Timothy Wright. I think they're suspecting that the next group of cars are going to be pitting here very shortly, so they want to try to get to the front here before that happens. Nobody pits this time around though, so but yeah, you can see those two tandem working together, the 17 and 24, very strong combination here, working their way up to the front.
Yeah, side by side again, but they are coming up on lap 7 pretty quick.
Yeah, it looks like Roy's going to stay all the way to the left line, so I don't think they're going to be in too bad of a shape. I was saying this is a track where you feel a lot more comfortable running 3 wide than most of the other ones. So the next question is, if there's an opening for that 24 or the 17, do they try to sneak in there and jump in front of somebody? Right now, there just is not an opening for them as of yet.
And I suspect we're going to see pit stops as we do.
There they come. It's a big group, yep. And that's exactly why we saw those two jump to the outside. So here they all come hitting the pit entry here. And it looks like everybody's in cleanly there, so great job by all the drivers there. So that's going to now cycle things over to that 24 of Timothy Wright. They say he's got Ryan Kelly right with him. Not too far behind is Corey Lane. Corey's going to try to see if he can catch up to these two, because this is where they want to try to make as much time as possible. Also notice that Craig Forsyth, he's just now hitting the pits. I think we may have missed something with Craig, because he is definitely was off the lead pack compared to where he was previously. So now it's just going to be all about where everybody cycles through on the pit exit. We know Charles Johnson and Jim Brooks, they pitted a few laps before the rest of the field. And so it looks like most of the field here is starting to make their exit now. And here comes that second group we mentioned, the 17 and the 24. So I'm going to do here is I'm going to jump on board with Charles Johnson, and we're going to watch these guys coming out of the pits and see how they cycle through here. Got by a couple of them, but I think what they might be able to do here, Dale, is if they can get just a little bit closer to a couple of those cars in front of them, I think they might just be a good enough spot here to catch the last part of this lead pack here, and I think that could bring them back into the mix here. So say we'll jump over to the last of that group. I think it's Jason Spear in the 83 car. We'll look at the distance between them. As you can see, this whole field pretty much set up almost like a tandem setup on this pit exit right now. But it looks like once everything's going to be cycled through here, it's going to go back to that 88 of Gabe Butler. And so not really a big surprise there. You can see the 8 of Dude Conrad right there with him. As you can see, they're working their way around some lap traffic here. But also Brandon Pasolaco, he's going to make his way up into that third spot after this pit stop cycle as well.
Yeah, so from here, what we know now, from here, it is a one-stop race.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So it's going to be a one-stopper from here. Field, for the most part, pretty well. It looks like the top 12 drivers all able to hang on to that lead pack here after everything's going to be all said and done here. We'll let everything update to be 100% sure. The drivers that are going to have a little bit of work to do, though, are going to be those, like we mentioned, Jim Brooks, Charles Johnson. They're going to have to try to find their way up there as well. Actually, it looks like the top 9 able to hang on to it. The ones that are going to have to work a little bit more, they're going to be Ryan Kelly. He's just on the edge of trying to grab onto this group here. You can see him. He's trying to catch that number 18 of Roy Grandy, see if he can grab his toe to maybe try to catch up as well. So, yeah, right now, though, so that we'll see what the 17 car lap time wise is, because he was up into the over 203, 204 entering turn number 3 there. So I think he's just maybe close enough to make this happen.
And just looking at the intervals and everything, and you got this 4-car pack back here being led by Charles Johnson. About a second ahead, you got Corey Lane and Tim Wright. You know, a little bit ahead of them, you got Ryan Kelly. A little bit ahead of Ryan, you got Roy Grandi. I think they're spaced out just enough to where Charles and company is going to be able to ride that draft and just kind of leapfrog back up the lead pack.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely they're going to be saying, you know, they're kind of white knuckling right now to try to do that. But you're right, though. I think they're kind of catching all these drafts at just the right time that I think they're going to be able to close that gap up. Because actually, Charles Johnson last time by was almost a full second faster than Gabe Butler. So it was a 47.2 to Gabe's 48.1. So right now, the second group is definitely catching the draft and is moving in the right direction here. Obviously, having to work hard. You see Jim Brooks, he's going to jump to the top. That car got hot, so he's going to let James Ledford take over. This is where they got to work quickly to lock back onto each other and not lose that what they have going here. Because that's kind of the risk for Swartz. Now James is going to lock onto that back bumper of that 9 machine and do the same thing that Jim was doing there. And as I say that, we got 2 fastest laps right in a row there. First was Timothy Wright, then Corey Lane, then Timothy Wright. So I'll say that last time that 24 car, though, ran the fastest lap of the race, a 47.026 to Corey Lane's 47.031. So that's exactly what we're talking about there. So I think at this point, I think Charles Johnson, I think he's just close enough. So I think they're going to make their way back up into this pack
here. Yeah, everybody. I mean, even Jim Brooks kind of fell back a little bit there, but everybody's they're going to have no problem from this point. Still, I mean, just single file, so everybody's calmed down. They've got all their raciness out of their system, I guess, for lack of a better term. It looks like everybody's just going to kind of ride for a little bit.
Yeah, you saw Corey. He tried to jump to the top in 24. Went try to see what he can do. Here goes Charles Johnson. He's going to one-up those guys. He's going to 47.022 as he catches the back of that field. So you can see, like you said, though, we're going to have all of these guys now back into the lead pack. So that's going to give us 16 cars in this lead draft here after that set of pit stops. So great job by those drivers, able to all get reestablished with one another. And also to mention Jim Brooks and Charles Johnson, they're pitting so many laps early, still able to make it happen. So you know they had to work hard, though. So I mean, if you're those two guys, I think now you really just want to try to save as much fuel as possible if I'm them, just to try to kind of offset how short you pitted that last time before.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna work out good. I think we're gonna see Jim and Charles come with about 23, 22, 20, somewhere in that range to go. It's gonna work out perfectly, I think, for him.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'll say up front, getting a little dicier here. Say we have 37 to go, and like you mentioned, say Charles and Jim, they pitted 10 laps to go. So basically, if they can go, let's say 15 more, that would put them, like you said, just right in about 23 or 22, 23 to go. So looking pretty good, but he's not happy to ride here. He's going to jump to that outside, and he's got really good help from Timothy Wright and that 24. Charles Johnson's jumped up with him. As soon as I said that Charles found an opening, he jumped straight into it there, right in front of the 12 car of gotta find his number again there, Robbie Richards there. So I think this is where Charles is going to go full fuel save as well in that number 9 machine.
Got a small group of lap cars they're catching pretty quickly here in front of them. It's like the 21. Can't see who all it is. Let me get a look through.
Yeah, you're right. It looks like, you've got Mickey Spear there. Then you got the 2 of Brandon Byerly, and then you've got John Brill here. So 2 of those are still on the tail end of the lead lap. Say right now, John Brill's trying to be the first, or right now is trying to stay on just 1 lap down, but he's pretty much in a bad spot to go 2 down. As you can see, he's going to jump to the top here and waste no time. So this is where you have to be careful too. If you're these leaders, you don't want them running 2 by 2 like they're hoping to see them jump to the top, and yet there they go. They do move to the top side there. If you're in these situations, that's exactly what you want to see there.
So they're coming up on this next group of 3 cars. You got Eric Laurie in the middle. What does Gabe Butler and Dude Conrad do when they get to Eric Laurie?
I think Eric's going to do the same thing as these guys around him. And actually, I do need to mention, though, also in that group is that 62 Les Levy. I think that's Les Levy. Let me double check, make sure I'm not getting the wrong car. Yeah, there is. Yeah, Les was able to use a faster pair. So I say, unfortunately, that did cost him lap when this is all said and done. But I would suspect we'll see Eric Laurie and Les Levy and then Craig Forsyth. I suspect we'll see them all jump to the top when the leaders get there. I don't think at this point they don't want to play any outcome in the how this race is going to unfold here at the end. One driver we haven't mentioned that I would be wanting to keep an eye on in this race is going to be that 54 of Travis Turnmeyer. I think he's going to be the kind of the wild card on this one with his teammates, because right now you can see there are about 5 to 6 cars up in front of him. He's right now just inside the top 10 there on the inside line. We know how good of a pusher and teammate Travis is with those guys as well. So obviously they don't have the full force here tonight, and also losing Eric Laurie at this point in the race. But that might be something we see though, Dale, is maybe those guys pit once they're in a comfortable window to make it to the end. And maybe, like I said, they'll probably catch Eric Laurie before that pit stop cycle happens. So maybe Eric kind of goes off strategy and he pits with them as well to get those 4 cars back up together and do what they do best.
Yeah, and you talk about Travis, we haven't mentioned him much today, but he knows how to win on these big tracks. We've seen it before. It's not fair to really say that, I guess, because this entire team knows how to win on these big tracks. Yeah,
exactly. It just depends on who's the one leading at the end. And that's what makes them so difficult to beat, is just the unselfishness. It's okay, Travis, all right, we're gonna pretty much commit to him. Okay, if it's Gabe, if it's Dude, that's what they do. And so there's really no selfishness. They put their egos aside and they want to do what's best for the team here tonight. So. And saying if they can work everything out to a T, I mean, it could easily be a Team Bootknocker 1-2-3 finish here tonight if they can kind of do everything right.
Yeah, and you talk about that unselfishness. Look at the championship race. A 1 point difference between teammates, and they still race the entire race like teammates.
You're exactly right. I say John Brillo, a big moment, somehow saved that car. Unfortunately, it's going to cost him lead pack here, so that's going to put him 2 down and then some. So he's going to be stuck off on his own here. And again, unfortunately, back up front though, not giving up without a fight though. Is that 21 of Mickey Spear? He's leading that top group here. Because right now, I mean, I believe he's showing as 1 lap down. So if he can get around, also I think the 2, Brandon Byerly. So if they can find a way to get around the leaders, they could possibly stay on the tail end of the lead lap. And I think that's what they're trying to do here. I actually would have thought they might at some point try to leave that 21 out to dry there, try to get around him in case there was a yellow. But right now, those two are definitely staying locked on together. As you see also I see that 21 of Daniel Holloway looked like he was thinking about trying to make that top line happen, but at this point, going to hang on to it on the outside. So we're coming around here, Dale. 30 to go. So again, that pit window is going to be coming here very shortly, where they're in the window to make it to the end. Of course, always have to account for the potential of green-white checkered finishes. So I don't think we're going to see anybody pit with 25 to go. But I think we might see around 22, 23 to go. Might be about that magic window to make these final pit stops. Other than those that are pretty much forced to, like you mentioned, Charles Johnson, Jim Brooks. They're going to probably have to pit in about 8 laps, I would suspect, for those 2 cars, which would still, I mean, that would get them to 22 to go, so that wouldn't be too bad of a thing, honestly, for them. But they'll have to have a little bit more fuel on those other cars that pitted a few laps later.
Looking at the order here, looks like John Brill, I'm sorry, has retired.
Yeah, so I think John had something going on. Oh, actually, just saw a car blow up. It was the 2 car. Oh, right in front of the field here. Daniel Holloway caught up in that one. That's going to bring a yellow out. You see, it looks like for the most part, everybody's able to sneak around this one. But yeah, unfortunately, that 2, though, Brandon Byerly just was trying too hard, I think, to try to get that lap back there. Just got that car a little bit too hot, and then unfortunately, that's what we've been seeing tonight. Is these cars they're blowing the motors at just kind of honestly just inopportune times here.
Yeah, and at the speed they were going, he blew up at 200 plus. There's not anything anyone behind him can do.
Yeah, so you can see, I think the 24 and the 2 kind of had the same idea at the same time. The 24 tried to jump to the top. I think the 2 wanted to as well, but then unfortunately, though, the 21 gets that right hook there. Just barrel rolls down the front stretch here a couple times around there. Actually lands on the hood for a moment of the 17 of Ryan Kelly. We'll definitely have to take a look at that from Ryan Kelly's perspective. But after all of that, Dale, I think really only the 2 and the 21 got really the worst of it here. I think a few other drivers may have got a little bit of a piece of it, but that could have been so much worse than it actually was.
So what we got to talk about here, we're 28 to go right now. It's really, really going to be tight if everybody pits right now coming to the end on fuel.
Yeah, you're right. So we're going to hop on board here with Ryan Kelly. You can see what we see. You see the smoke. He knows the motor's blown. So you can see he's going to try to figure out where to go. He slows down, gets a little bit of contact, but here goes the 21. And he drives right, actually bounces off him. Yeah, you can see a little bit of a hood damage. Sometimes iRacing likes to fix those on its own, but I don't think this is going to be the case for him. Looks like that hood is going to be a little bit crinkled on that 17 car. So that's just due to that 21 bouncing off of the hood of that 17 machine of Ryan Kelly. So but you're right, though. It's going to be pit stop time here, so let's go up front. And yeah, you're right. It's going to be right on the edge. I mean, pitting here coming to 27 to go. I think we're going to see I think we're going to see probably most of the field probably top off here. And I believe this is going to be a big breakdown for Les Levy. I think Les should get the wave around here, if I'm not mistaken, in the 62 car. So right now he's still showing behind the pace car, though. So I'm trying to see who would the lucky dog go to. As you can see, Gabe Butler, he's going to win the race off of pit road. We're going to jump over to 62 of Les Levy. And right now he's still showing behind the pace car, which, let's say, I feel like he was the first car one down. The only one I could see otherwise was maybe the 25 of Mickey Spear. And actually, that might be what I think the 25 may have been the driver to get that wave around there. You see him hitting the pits here. So I think the 25 actually got his lap back. So the question for I think Les Levy here, he's going to stay out here, try to get that wave around, and then hope for another yellow. Because he's going to have to pit in about 8 more laps at this point.
Yeah, not a horrible gamble. I mean, it's like we just talked about, it's going to be tough for these guys to make it, when they go green with probably 25 to go. Like, it's going to be tough for them to make it to the end.
Yeah, this is going to be right on the window. You're exactly right. So we're going to be restarting this one with 25 to go, because right now we're at 27 to go. Looking at pit stop times, it looks like a few drivers are actually having to do some pretty significant damage repair. One of those is Jeffrey Clifton. You can see the back end of that car still got some pretty decent damage to it. The nose looks actually pretty good, so I think he might not be in too bad of shape. Also got to mention as well in the pit stop, Kyle Hess in the 86 car. He's had a pretty long stop in this 86 machine as well. Car's looking pretty clean, so I think he might be all right. But what we're going to be watching for here, though, is going to be the leaders and see how many of them are going to top off, because I think pit road here is going to be a very busy place. One more time.
Yeah, see, David Overstreet is retired from the race, leaving. Currently, we have 20 on the lead lap, and I'm not sure how many still are on the track.
I'm showing, I believe, 21 drivers, I think, are on the lead lap here, or are still on track, with, I believe, 19 of those on the lead lap still as well. And it's actually a mixed bag on the fuel strategy here today. I'm a little surprised. I really thought the 88 and the 8 would actually go ahead and top off, but they've opted to stay out. But what they do have going for them now, though, is they've got those teammates 1, 2, 3. So if they can save aggressively here under yellow, this might be that move that they're looking for.
Yeah, and you see that right now with Gabe Butler. I'm surprised everybody's not doing it. I guess running a little lower, but Gabe's cleaned down on the apron, taking the shortest path he can, and probably clutching a little bit as well.
Yeah, say he can't hide anything from us, and actually, well, it looks like he might be just lugging it here in fourth gear here, showing about 2,600 RPM as he goes around track. And so that's the other thing is there's kind of two strategies of there it goes motor. You can see the motor down to 300 RPM there for a moment. There's kind of two strategies of what's the best way to save fuel. Is it kind of just lugging it in the tall gear? Do you clutch it? Do you shut the ignition off? There's so many different trains of thought of what the best approach is. So obviously Gabe doing everything he can to save that extra lap or two that he might need. But of course that's all based on this going to the distance, and of course going caution free as well. If you put a caution in here and potentially get into that green white checker territory, that's going to shake everything up.
Yeah, and at this point, coming down, like say 25 to go when they take the green, um, here in a few laps, everybody's going to start getting very, very racy.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the other thing that's going to be happening here is you see how there's so many cars here lined up single file on the inside line. With all those drivers lining up or taking the one to go or topping off on one to go, they don't get to double up. They have to start at the end of the longest line, which is going to be that inside line. So they have to make sure that they get through the gears here quickly, because if they don't, they could be at risk of losing this draft as well. So there's a kind of a lot at play here on this restart here. Again, we're going to be restarting with 25 to go. You see only 2 cars there on the outside line, the 8 and the 10 car. What you might see here is, I would wonder, does that 88 go quickly here with his teammates and see if they can maybe break away from the field?
Yeah, and we know they can do that as they go early.
Yeah, I thought they might go a little early. You can see, right off the bat there, you saw one car, 10 drop to the inside. Here goes the 8. He drops inside as well. So this is going to be where now these guys that they are topped off in the one to go, they got to make sure they're going to have to hustle here. And that's going to cost them, possibly, might even cost them more fuel than what they maybe have gained from the top off, just by having to really kind of keep that foot to the floor here on this restart.
No, you're absolutely right. And there wasn't a whole lot of coordination on that bottom line. It didn't look like, they were pretty spread out. And then right before they came to the entrance to pit lane, everybody started to close the gap. So it hung some people back a little further than they need to be.
Yeah, so right now those top 5 are all on the lead lap. Let's say that car right behind them, Roy Grandy, he is 2 laps down as things run. So let's say Roy hoping for possibly a little bit of a break to maybe get one of those laps back. Les Levy, he actually also pitted there on that one to go as well, so he's still trapped 1 lap down. But again, though, he went ahead and made that fuel stop to hopefully try to make it to the end as well. But we talked about that gap right now. It's showing about a second between these guys. We'll jump back to Mickey Spear there. I think they're pretty well organized here. I think they're going to be able to catch that draft back up here. But like I mentioned, though, Dale, they're going to be burning up a lot of fuel here trying to close that gap. So whatever they gain from the topping off on the one to go, it might kind of just come to naught after all of this is said and done.
Yeah, time is the only way we'll know. We've seen some amazing fuel-saving measures out of some of these guys, and we've seen guys, think they have enough to make it and just come up a little short. So time's the only way we're going to tell.
Yeah, exactly right. So coming around here, 23 to go there at the line. Say that whole pack's about to come all back together. So now the question is, do they stay single file like this and everybody go full fuel save, or does somebody at some point jump to the top? You see Roy Grandin, he's just getting to the top. He wants to get out of this fight. He just wants to make sure he stays in the draft, obviously, to try to make sure he at least stays 2 down. But there goes that 21 of Mickey Spear. He's going to jump to the outside. He's going to bring Brandon Pasalaca with him. They are not content right on the inside. They're going to try to make something happen here on that top side.
Yeah, Ford versus Chevy is at 21 runs, real close to the quarter of the 54. They're trying to get to the front. We've seen Brandon Pasalaca all race get on top and try to make that move, and just hasn't quite been able to get done yet.
Yeah, I was saying, don't know if those two have any affiliation or if they were familiar with each other or anything like that, or if it's just like, hey, I don't want to ride either, let's do it. But you can see, though, right now it's just those two kind of off on their own at the moment. You see Les Levy, he's trying to work his way back up in that 62 machine, try to see if he can close the gap, maybe help that top line as well. So again, Les right now still trapped 1 lap down. I kind of thought he might just kind of ride in the back and try to play it safe, but I say Les definitely going to be going after it here, as we're going to be coming around next time by. Going to be 21 laps to go in this event.
Yeah, looking at kind of the tail end of the pack here, you got that 071 of Eric Laurie, still got that front end damage, but able to maintain a draft, and that caution came at a very, very good time for him as he was about to go a lap down.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I say Eric definitely keeping persistent, never giving up, and saying that's kind of one of those things that that's what you love to see as a competitor, and even on the broadcasting side of things, it's like, you never want to see these guys jump out if things don't go their way. So Eric's going to give it everything he has. If that car is running and has any chance at getting a good break, I think you'd still see him out there at the end.
Yeah, I noticed it looked like 2 packs were forming, but it looks like Ryan Kelly was having a little bit of connection issues as he's reappeared on the track.
Yeah, so that's what always makes people nervous there when you have those connection issues. But yeah, it looks like everybody's able to hold on pretty well to this draft here at the moment. You see the inside line still able to kind of get that advantage up. Here comes so here's the strategy call. The team here, they're going to go ahead and pit here as soon as they're in their window to make it. And they've got a pretty good group. It looks like about 6 cars here. So you got the 88, the 54, the 8, the 9. Trying to catch who else is in there as well. The 12 is in there with him, as well as is the 071 of Eric Laurie. So this is going to be that splash of fuel to make it to the end, and possibly with the green-white checkered as well. That's their strategy call that they're going to go with here.
Yes, we got junk on the backstretch.
Oh, this is going to work out perfectly for them. Well, I guess it depends on a caution or not, but you're right, the caution is out here. And it looks like it's caught up the 18 there. Oh, you also see the it's a 62. It's upside down there. Les Levy. So he was one I was hoping to see might be able to get that lucky dog. He went ahead and had to take a tow there. So I'll say that caution, it could be a blessing or it could be a curse for those two. I'm not sure which how it's going to pan out here. But let's go take a look here. And actually, you can see you got the 62 and the 18 working together on the top side here. It looks like... I'm trying to see if I can see where it all come into play here. May have been a little bit of net code possibly between that 21. As all 3 of those cars go flying there. Mickey Spear getting the worst of that. You can see all the air he's catching in that 21 car. Big hit for him. Then unfortunately, though, like I mentioned, Les Levy, he gets caught up in that one as well. So I'm going to try to get another angle here, Dale, because I hate the net code situations, but it didn't seem like they were close enough for that to bring out for them to actually make contact there with each other.
Yeah, Leslie, you talk about Les Levy being involved. Tough break for him, as he would have been the lucky dog candidate.
No, it actually does look like, yeah, it looks like they did come together there off of 2 there. Kind of looked like one came down a little bit, one came up a little bit, but like I said, though, Mickey Spear clearing the catch fence height-wise there, so definitely not what he was looking for. And then again, also Les Levy kind of going for a tumble, and unfortunately never landing back on his wheels, so he went ahead and had to take a tow, and I think he may have been out of fast repairs at that point. I'm not 100% sure. Almost actually winds up hitting the side of the 18 car of Roy Grandy there as well, so that's going to put us, like I said, that's what put us back under caution. And it looks like, sure enough, here come all the leaders. They're going to go ahead and make their pit stop here to try to make it to the end. And what that's going to do is, we mentioned those drivers that pitted there under green that just a half lap before the caution came out. It's going to work perfectly for Gabe Butler. He's going to cycle back out up front here.
Yeah, and from here on out, everybody's going to have enough fuel to make it, or should have enough fuel to make it. So like you say, with Travis Termar, Gabe Butler, Duke Conrad, Charles Johnson came in on that, Eric Laurie, real good time for them.
Yeah, say the usual suspects, if you will. They found their way back to the front here, pretty much when it's time to go for it. So it looks like Corey Lane, I think he's going to win the race off of pit road for those that pitted there. And so the next question is going to be, because sometimes there is the opportunity where you might be able to sneak in front of somebody who maybe didn't pit, but then didn't quite catch up in time. So, and it kind of looks like Corey Lane may have been able to sneak around that 072 of Eric Laurie, and actually looks like Brandon Pasalaco as well. So unfortunately for Eric, he's going to lose his teammates just a little bit here. So he's not going to wind up restarting in that 5th position. He looks like he's going to be back in 7th.
Looking at pit times, it looks like a lot of fuel, about the top 12 fuel only stops. And then you start with Ryan Kelly, and a couple of guys look like they might have did 4 tires as well.
Yeah, so there's always kind of those mixed bags of what you want to do. I think one driver that, let me find where Robbie Richards is. Yeah, it looks like that didn't pan out for Robbie. So he was one of those guys that pitted with that group as well, but looks like he actually went in again afterwards. So, so unfortunately for Robbie, he's going to restart towards the back of this lead pack here. But again, I mean, it's Talladega. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are. If you could be in 10th, 15th on that final lap, and you kind of pick your way through, make the right moves at the right time, you could definitely find yourself in the thick of things here.
Yeah, absolutely. Showing some guys kind of been riding in the back here these last couple couple runs. Again, talking about Jim Brooks, he's out of fast repairs. We know that. Been very fortunate in the last 2 cautions to squeak through there with a clean race car.
Yeah, that last one, he barely made his way through that one. That could have easily collected him as well. So, say at this point, I don't think there's gonna be much saving, much riding you can do. I think everybody's gonna be going pretty much all out here. So we have 17 to go now at the line. We're gonna restart with 16 laps to go. As you see, obviously on the ticker on the left, you can see the drivers remaining in this race right now still have 18 on the lead lap. So unfortunately, it looks like those that are in the pits are probably done for the evening. Unfortunately, Les Levy has retired from the event, as well as Roy Grandy. You mentioned David Overstreet already as well. And then Brendan Byerly, Mickey Spear both sitting in the pits for a prolonged amount of time as well. So I think their nights are pretty much done as well.
Be taking a green with 16 to go, so we're going to go back to a run about like we saw in that earlier heat race with those 7 cars.
Yeah, exactly right. I say we're pretty much back to the heat race here. So I say this time though we're going to have 18 cars at the moment that are going to be jockeying for the win tonight. But they're going to have their say right now you got the top 4 teammates all locked on together. You got Eric Laurie right there as well. So I say those are going to be the ones to beat. So the question is, you have enough cars now. I mean, you're going to see that third line is going to come into play. The question is, who's going to be the one to make that happen? I kind of keep an eye on the 21 Brandon Pasalacqua, or say 29 of Brandon Pasalacqua, as well as the 21 of Daniel Holloway. Corey Lane as well, I could see making some moves as well. So, but we've seen that 29 and 21. They're definitely not shy about getting to that top line.
No, absolutely. And Charles Johnson, we've seen him do it as well. Looks like he's going to restart here in the 4th position. So, he'll stay. I think he'll stay a little conservative to start out, but we'll definitely see him try to make a move.
Yeah, say it gets tricky for him as he's got those teammates with him, with Gabe and Travis and Dude. So, of course, Eric as well. So, yeah, it's going to be curious to see what the strategy is going to be. If that unselfishness comes into play again here at the end of this one. So we're going to, again, like DL said, we're going to restart here with 16 to go. And it's up to the leaders when they want to go. I think this time we might see them go ahead and wait till the green flag because, again, it looks like they're going to go a little early one more time. And I think it's going to let these guys try to get lined up in a good order here. And you can see everybody's filing into line nice and quickly there. So you got those teammates right now all locked up into those first 4 spots.
Yeah, pretty much everybody finds a hole there and gets down, including Brandon Pasalacqua. He's going to be scored in the 5th position in the bottom.
Yeah, it looks like about the top 10 all single file here. Craig Forsyth right now at the end of that lead pack here. Saw Jim Brooks. I think he was about side-by-side there near Timothy Wright, Jason Spear. But like I said, though, we're getting back underway, and you can see everybody here is going to be locked onto the inside line. At some point, that we're going to see that outside move. See Craig Forsyth actually up to the top there. It looked like he kind of got moved up a little bit. It looked like he tried to jump to the top of Jeffrey Clifton, and it looked like that 15 car kind of kept going up with him as well. And looked like maybe Craig caught a little bit of the wall, but again, I'll say with these stock cars, that car is going to be okay to keep on after it here.
Jim Brooks making a move to the outside.
Yeah, so he got the momentum. He's like, well, I'm going to try to take it. Let's go. And so he's got that 24 Timothy Wright. Timothy wants to go with him. The question is, again, you're going to see as people peek out, other people are going to try to do the same. You see the 15, he's poked out. There goes the 21 as well. So it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when you get the momentum going. So right now the 15 car, Jeffrey Clifton, he's going to be the first on the outside line. Looks like the 21, he's decided, you see Jim wanted to try to go 3 wide. Don't think it's going to work. He's going to have to fall back in line. That's going to really slow that momentum down. As you can see, they've now fallen back to that lead pack here again. So that you can see they're going to all kind of jump back to the inside and try to regroup again, it looks like.
Yeah, what they really need is those cars a little further back to decide to go high with them and get a nice big, as 2 more join the pack, but get a nice big draft pack and make their way to the front.
Yeah, so and timing this that's really the big part. Is you got to time this move. You got to have the momentum kind of moving forward before you jump to the top, because if you jump too early, it's not going to gain anything. Actually, I see up top there, it looked like I thought I saw dude Conrad poke up at the top there, but he stays in line there. You're right there. You got Ryan Kelly in the mix. Here comes Robbie Richards as well. So I'd say that outside line is slowly but surely starting to form, and you can see Jim has started to move forward on this outside line. He started there behind that 131 of Craig Forsyth. He's now up about halfway through this group, now getting up to the 10 of Corey Lane. So at some point, you're going to see someone, I think, jump up there. The question is going to be who. And of course, you got to be careful if you're that 24 car. Don't push too much too long. We've already seen about 3 cars, I believe, blow their motors, getting that car too hot. Craig Forsyth is enjoying the party on that outside line as well. Still that 76 that Jim Brooks leading that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It looks like
there goes
Charles Johnson jumping up high. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them teammates jump up high and get control of this group. So the big advantage there when they're controlling the top and the bottom lane, obviously.
Yeah, it's not a big surprise to see Jim and Charles work together. We saw them make that stop cycle work together as well. So I think Charles is kind of in a bad spot there, and I think Jim was willing to work with him to try to help them out. So I say it's not a surprise to see Charles try to jump up there with that 76 car. So I say we go back now. We're 2x2 here for the lead here, coming to 12 to go.
Yeah, Jim's going to have to really push Charles if he wants to get him up front there.
Yeah, that's where you're gonna have to, if you want to make that move, have to push hard. But then at some point, you're gonna have to move, hope that they can move down, or you're gonna have to move out of the way and not get your car too hot. As you can see, Jim is locked onto that back bumper of that number 9 machine.
I like the aggression. I mean, I say aggression. I like what we're seeing. It's not as Jim shoots out of lane a little bit there, but it's not something we normally see out of it.
No, you're exactly right. And I say at first I thought he maybe had to jump up as he was getting hot, but I think what happened there is just, I say when you're pushing, I say what we can do is let's hop on board the 76 car. We can see what we're talking about. When you're leading this group, you are pretty much blind. So if you're pushing that 9 car, pretty much all you're going to see is that rear wing or rear spoiler of that number 9 machine. So when he makes the entry into the turn, it's hard to stay right on top of him. So as you can see, Jim right now not quite locked on. That's why you see the inside lines that been able to separate just a little bit here. But then as Jim's going to catch up to the back of the 9 here on the backstretch, you're going to see that gap start to shrink, and you can see him just gaining on the leaders here. And watching as the enter turn 3, it's pretty much a blind entry for the 76 car. Again, you see he washes up a little bit, tries to cut it back down quickly, but it's just very difficult to be that second car, third car right behind these guys because you're kind of got a blind entry to these turns.
Yeah, and being mindful where you're getting to his back bumper. You do it in the middle of a tri-oval. It doesn't look like it on the broadcast, but the middle of this tri-oval is very, very loose. It's one of the looser spots of the racetrack, so you got to be real careful about where you're getting to his back bumper.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I say generally these straightaways are the safest place to do it as long as you're lined up correctly and kind of staying, not kind of moving around back and forth. The banking in the turns, you can do it, and so you'll see people do it towards the end of these races as well. But in the turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4, you can definitely do it because you have so much banking to work with. However, like you said, the tri-oval, even though it seems like it's so much less banking than 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it's like you said, it's the sketchiest part of the track, and actually the inside line is extremely bumpy as well, and it makes it really hard to keep those cars right on that yellow line.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you're carrying so much speed. It's one of the fastest points in the track. It does have a pretty substantial angle to it as you're coming off the tri-oval, and there's just no banking relative to turns 1 and 3.
Yeah, so I was watching the duels on Thursday, and they were talking about the banking at Daytona, and it's the exact same thing there. It is the most dangerous part of the track, and drivers will talk about how the car feels great everywhere except the tri-oval, just because of how different that turn is than the other turns here at Talladega and Daytona.
Well, and it also lends to what you do see in the NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity Series, as well as we saw it last night in the Truck Series, is those last lap crashes. You always seem to have a last lap crash through the tri-oval because everybody's pushing, nobody's going to lift because, that just burping the throttle a little bit can cost you a position or 2.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and that's the thing is you got to go for everything you have at these races. Saying once that last lap flag flies, at that point you're in it to win it, and so yeah, you're right. We saw if you lose momentum at the wrong time, you can go from first to fourth, fifth, or worse. So you got to definitely get everything you're worth here. Saying with that, I say we're at 8 to go, coming around to 7 to go. You can see the outside. They've kind of stalled out here a little bit. I think Jim's got to try to cool that car off a little bit to try to lock back onto the back of that 9 of Charles Johnson. But he's got to be careful too because again, Timothy Wright's definitely been cutting him plenty of slack in that 24 machine. But at some point, Timothy's going to see that door open and feel like, hey, you know what? I think I could push Charles a little bit better than you can, maybe. And he's going to eventually maybe fill that gap if that 76 gets too high.
Yeah, I'd love to see the 76 take him 3 wide on the outside. I mean, I don't think we'll see it, but I really think that the 24 and the 76 could get something done here.
Yeah, so it did seem like the 24 was pushing very well. The cards that I'm going to keep an eye on, though, the one I don't think has shown his full hand yet is that 21 Daniel Holloway. I still suspect that he's going to make a move before too long. This one, he's got a really good driver, Ryan Kelly, right in front of him as well. So we always joke about Ryan kind of being Mr. Tire Saver. Obviously not going to come into play here tonight. But the problem is, though, you can see there's just so many cars here pinned on this inside line that if you start splitting this outside line to go 3 wide, you're just going to lose that much more momentum. And I think that's just going to help that inside line kind of surge away.
Yeah, I'm sure Brandon Patholack was looking. He probably wants to get back to the outside of the team, race up there. That'll lend some momentum to the top line, you know, for the time being. But right now, there's just no place for him to go.
Yeah, that's exactly right. As you see, Craig Force, I don't think he went to the top on purpose. Almost a big moment there. It looks like they're going to just hang on to it. Craig still bouncing off the wall there, though. That's going to put Craig out of this one here for the moment without a yellow. You can see he's going to lose the draft there, unfortunately, in that 131 machine. Just think him and Robbie Richards had a little bit of disagreement over track space there between the two of them. But yeah, like you said, though, right now, so the outside line just isn't going where it needs to go. So if you're Brandon Pasolaco, though, what you probably try to do here is maybe try to see if you can kind of shove that 8 car just a little bit further forward. Maybe you can be the one to lead this outside group with Charles Johnson, but I'll say right now he just doesn't quite have enough momentum to make that happen here yet.
Oh yeah, you're exactly right. He's, you know, it's difficult. He can't see, like you talked about with Jim Brooks in that 76. You know, Brandon can't really see a whole lot, especially with the cars on the outside. He's just sandwiched in there, so he's got to throw some caution.
Yeah, the only option you might have is at some point if one of these drivers maybe tries to give him a little bit of a gap to sneak into, but it's very risky to do, obviously, because you don't know if the guy behind you is going to roll out enough to give you the space to do it or not. So come around here, we have 5 to go here at the line. Actually, sorry, 4 to go here at the line. So I'd say at some point they're going to have to kind of throw caution to the wind and not worry about those engine temps, oil temps, and I said they're just going to have to lock on and go for everything they have and try to make it to get that checker flag or possibly bring it home on a flatbed.
It looks like the top line's getting a little bit of momentum like we've seen all race, but they're just not able to get there. Really losing a lot of time, 3, 4, and the front stretch.
Yeah, I think that's what's hurting them a little bit is you see the 76 just isn't able to stay locked to the back of that 9 car. You can see him keep on staggering off to the right, and that's just, again, that's where the time is made up. Even if you're not pushing him, the closer you are to that guy, the more in line that you are with him, that's going to help your speed overall. Is again, and you can see, I think you're right though, Dale. I think if Jim tried to go 3 wide, that 24 of Timothy Wright looks like he is committed to go at that 76 wherever he goes. But again, I think Jim is pretty committed here to Charles Johnson at this point in the race. So we have 3 laps to go here.
Yeah, I don't see him leaving Charles. You know, I'd like to see it. I just don't see it happening. They're good friends. You know, we saw their pit strategy together earlier in the race. I think Jim's going to stay right where he's at.
Yeah, so it's just all just making the right move at the right time, and so that might be what, again, trying to get those temps down. And here comes that 3rd line. We talked about it was bound to happen eventually, and it's going to be that 21. No surprise there. I had a feeling at some point Daniel Holloway is going to try to make a move happen, and here it goes. And you see the 24. He wants to now jump to that top side. He's going to try to lead that outside line. So this is where business is going to start picking up there. You see big wiggles there. They couldn't quite keep it lined up there. They're going to hang onto it for the moment. But unfortunately, that's going to kind of throw off that top line here, and that's really going to hurt. Unfortunately, Timothy Wright just kind of got shuffled out there.
Yeah, and that's the risk, you know, especially coming down to the end of the race. Is we got about
lap and a half.
Lap and a half, yes. That's the risk, but you got to take those risks this late in the race.
What Brandon can do here, he almost didn't quite have it. I thought he might have the opening to jump to the top side. That 21 filled it here. All right, so coming out of 4, we're about to take the white flag. See if we get to that white flag, because here comes Charles Johnson. He is getting a big push from that 76 to Jim Brooks. This is what they were waiting for, I think. But again, you got to be careful here. You see Jim get a little bit higher there. Charles is going to clear the 88 of Gabe Butler. So that's going to now give the door open to Jim Brooks with that 17 of Ryan Kelly behind him. as they're going to come through 1 and 2 here, coming down the backstretch for the final time.
Yeah, coming off two, they're going to be door to door. Jim Brooks and Charles Johnson. The 88 car just really shoving Charles Johnson there, trying not to let Jim Brooks get an advantage as they spread out 3 right behind him.
Yeah, so you can see the 21 gave the 17 a big push, which then got the push into the 76, but they're just stay as locked on as they were there early. And you see Jim starting to lose that momentum that he had. And here they come. Here comes the big move. Is now you see Gabe Butler. He's going to jump to the outside of Charles Johnson. Charles going to have to try to drop down and pick up that 8. But it looks like the 88 is going to get the big push he needs from the 54 at the line. 3 wide there for third position. The win, though, going to go to Gabe Butler there, getting the push from Travis Turdmeyer at the end. And I think it looks like Dude Conrad going to get the third position over Charles Johnson by 0.03 of a second. Jim Brooks going to finish up in that 5th position. But say we talked about those teammates could find a way to make it 1, 2, 3 at the end, and they've done that here, as you can see them coming down the backstretch together.
Yeah, that's really an incredible finish. Tough to tell there at the line who was going to be where.
No, you're exactly right. So we'll keep an eye and we'll watch Gabe here. We'll say we got to watch the celebration from the 88 car getting the win here this evening. But yeah, I mean, a great job by those 3. They were able to, and again, that's what was able to get it done. They were able to stay locked on to each other. No mistakes from the drafting. Then Gabe made the right move at the right time to jump to the top, because we saw the outside just couldn't quite stay formed as they were hoping to. As you can see, they're going to get lined up here at the start-finish line with one another. I think we're going to see kind of a team celebration here up front. So watching these guys celebrate. Let's go back there. Let's go look at that coming to the white there, or not coming to the white. Sorry, coming off the 4 there to the finish here, because that was where it really all kicked off there with that 88 and the 54 locking on together, and that was that winning move that we saw.
Yeah, we talked about, it would happen. We just weren't exactly sure when, and it happened at the perfect time.
Yeah, so you saw he just able to jump to the outside of that 9 of Charles Johnson. Travis Turdmeyer just right on top of that 88 car, just locks onto him immediately. And then you see the 8 of Dude Conrad. He's able to just sneak to the inside of the 9 of Charles Johnson. Charles trying to find a safe way through here. So we're going to slow it down, though, at the finish, because that, like we talked about, that battle for that third position between Charles and Dude and Jim Brooks. I mean, it was a really good 3-4 wide battle here coming to the checkered flag. So you can see right there. So that's how close it was between the 8 and the 9 for that final podium position. And you see Jim Brooks able to eke ahead just in front of us. So you see Robbie Richards, he's right there. Brandon Pastelacqua on the inside, along with the 10 of Corey Lane, pretty much right on top of each other as well, nose to nose there at the finish line. So that is going to be our top 3 finishers, though, for tonight. So I think we're going to do, we would talk about that teamwork week in and week out, Dale. So I think there's no easier way to do that than let's get a top 3 interview here with those guys together, and we can talk about their race here. And also got to mention Eric Laurie. Even with all that damage, he was still able to bring it home in that 11th position. All right, so we're gonna do here. I say we're gonna grab the teammates and bring them all in here together. So Dale, we talked about it right at the beginning of the race. If that team was able to do it right, they might be able to finish 1, 2, 3, if not even better than that. And saying they found a way to get exactly that done. So Gabe made the move off of turn number 4 to get in front of Charles Johnson. Travis Turdmeyer just locked on to perfection there coming to the end. And then Dude is able to get enough of a pull off of that 9 and is able to sneak under him before the start-finish line and grab that 3rd spot as well. So you guys, you make it look easy. I know it's anything but yeah, I mean, just take us through those final laps. We saw you guys all kind of get locked on together on that final restart, dude. We bugged you under caution. You mentioned you were going to find each other at. You guys would make sure you found each other, but when it came time to it, and you did exactly that. You guys were able to kind of control that inside line, and just that outside line just didn't quite have enough to hold you guys off there at the end.
Yeah, I don't know about for Gabe and Travis, but it just kind of unfolded our way there the last lap. I believe Travis got pretty hot there. Had to check up or blow up. That would have sucked. We'd all finished, a lap down. So just worked out for our best.
Yeah, it's hard to top a 1-2-3 finish, and so, I mean, Travis would say, yeah. I mean, so how hot were your temps getting there in that 54 car coming to the end there? As we saw, I think of 3 or 4 cars actually blow their motors just from overheating there. How concerned were you coming to that final stretch there?
Well, that's what we were fixing to start talking about right before you pulled us down here. I'd found a spot to where I could keep Gabe in the lead and keep the temps in the green. I mean, it's 282, 283, but you click over on 284, and I could keep him there and keep him at bay. But then that last push come in, I run it up. I think I looked down. It was 292 when I backed out of it, and I knew it was going to blow. Gabe said, I got something for him. Them coming down the back straightaway, so well, maybe not. And then top kind of fell apart there. We don't know what happened to him. It rattled a little bit. And it opened up. I cooled it back off, so it opened up enough just for us to jump on the outside and drive it right around. Pretty awesome day. Take 1, 2, 3. Hard to stop us when we get together.
Yeah, it definitely is, and yeah, you're right that the outside line just wasn't able to stay as organized as you guys are, and that's what makes you all so tough to beat is just how well you draft together, and it almost seems like you know what the other is going to do, and you're able to kind of just go with him. Like we saw Gabe, we saw him jump to the top to get to the outside of Charles there, but I mean, you were locked right onto his onto that rear bumper as if you were almost as if you guys were the same car, almost making the same move at the same time. So. I mean, is that something that just from the practice and the experience you guys have racing with each other, or is that something you guys actually try to maybe even practice before the races begin?
You're right. Go ahead, dude.
Well, for me, matter of fact, Crow's Nest was where me and Gabe and Travis really started working pretty good together and realized, with the pit strategies and a little bit of luck, they'd have to deal with us everywhere we went. We were cricket breaks. And that's what this was all about tonight was Jimmy Crow Memorial Race. And I don't know if Gabe remembers that or I do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, we perfected a lot of skills running Crow's Nest, but when you're together as much as we are, these guys are like family to me. We hang out pretty much every night of the week. We run as one unit. That's what it takes.
Yeah, I mean, you guys nailed the strategies. Was perfect to say. Obviously, some of the stuff kind of worked out for you. Obviously, we saw you guys pit early. We're curious if anybody was going to try to stretch it on field to make it to the end. Had it gone green to the end, we saw you guys duck off about 3 or 4 laps. I want to say into that after that. What we thought was going to be the last restart, and then you guys were all getting your pit service when the caution came out on the backstretch. So that was able to bring you guys all back out into pretty much into those top 4 positions there at the end. So. Obviously, the pit strategy again works out. So even when it maybe doesn't work how you thought it was going to work out, say that part panned out really nicely for you all to be able to kind of control that lead pack there at the end.
Yeah, we kind of got lucky on that. Sometimes it goes the other way where you end up going to the back of the field because you can't go around a slow car. But we wouldn't have been able to make it. We definitely had to pit. And we knew everybody else had to pit too, so that's why we kind of decided to. Once we knew we could put enough fuel in to finish, we decided we'd go, and the caution came out while we were in our pits. So yeah, it got real lucky on that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys definitely. I mean, I was saying, obviously, a few of you had to come from the back and get back to the front. Say, obviously, the fast repairs came into play a little bit. Say, Eric Laurie, obviously, not quite. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna drag Eric in here as well because I say he's obviously as a bigger part of the team as the rest of you guys. Say, unfortunately, Eric, we know was out of those fast repairs, got caught up, and it seemed like any incident, it would find his way to get Eric as well there. I mean, to get obviously you guys top three and Eric able to nurse that nose damage, especially at a track like Talladega, still bringing it home in that 11th spot as well, right in the mix here as well. I mean, just yeah, obviously a difficult one to say. Obviously, a few new names, faces that maybe you guys haven't raced with before. I'm sure that always brings a little bit of a mix into things, but yeah, I mean, was there anything that stood out for you guys at all? I mean, to me, the biggest thing for me was the drivers blowing their motors, drafting, just getting the cars too hot. That we don't see that too often with the Area 51 Super Speedway series, but here we saw, like I said, I think about 3 or 4 drivers had that happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They fix that because it takes away so much fun, just outright fun of pushing. When the motor's making steam 90% of the race, it's ridiculous.
And was that something on the setup side of things, or is that just maybe is that with the new build of these cars are just running that much hotter?
It's like that for 2 bills. It's worse on this one. It's really hard to keep it cool. It's no fun pushing. I used to love pushing. Had a ball, and now it's just 2 laps. You're done. You got to stick a fork in that.
Lowered the tape. They had it at 25. Well, you used to be able to run 0 on these cars, and you could push for days. And they took us 25, well, they brought it back to 15. Well, they're still, I think this, NASCAR's got their rule of no locking bumpers. And iRacing really doesn't have a way of enforcing that. And I look at it as it's probably here to stay because that's iRacing's way of enforcing not locking bumpers. I mean, you can lock up, but if you do, you're only going to get a lap and a half.
Okay. But yeah, no, I mean, again, though, guys, they just, and we were talking about that with Dale and I. Just if you guys got together, you're going to be tough ones to beat. Say as it is, kind of anytime you guys are together at these play races, you're able to get it done here again tonight. Obviously, again, this one's say no prize money, nothing like that. Say obviously just trying to put on a good show for the Crow family, which I definitely think you all were able to do tonight. It was a lot of fun to be a part of. You guys did an awesome job this evening. So say I'll start with you, dude, and then Travis and Gabe, if you guys want to chime in. Say definitely want to give you an moment to, if you wanted to share any well wishes or things like that to the Crow family and everybody. Hopefully we'll be able to catch this when they're able to.
Like I said earlier, that's all today was about was Mr. Crow, and it really didn't hit home until I seen the name of the race. It's weird seeing his name like that. It's just horrible. Cancer sucks, man. It happened to a family member of mine. It takes them quick. But like today, we had a lot of fun. I'm sure that's what he wanted. I met some good friends in Crow's Nest. Gabe, Travis, Eric, Michael Russell, all them guys. We had a ball. It ain't gonna be the same without him.
Go ahead, Eric.
Well, I just want to thank Charles for putting the race on, and wish the Crow families some rest and peace out of all this. And I guess that's about it.
Jimmy, Marie, you've become very good friends with all of us. Proud to call you our friends, and you've really been in our prayers for the last few weeks. The senior got sick. Really gonna miss the old man. Had a lot of good times with him. He's a real right. Enjoyed running with him. But hope the family can find some peace through all this. We'll be praying for you. I love you guys.
Yeah, well said, fellas. I'll second everything the guys said there. Crow's Nest was definitely a platform for us to get together, and I mean it was always a blast. And the thing about Senior, I think he enjoyed watching the races more than he did running in them, and he provide a little bit of color commentary as guys were running, and he wouldn't be afraid to put the hammer down either if somebody stepped out of line. But in general, he was always very positive and encouraging drivers. Even if they did make a mistake, he'd kind of defend them for a little bit. And like I said, it was a platform for us guys to get together, but it's not about us. It's about the memory of Jimmy Crow Sr. and our sincerest condolences to the whole family.
Yeah, as well as I say, yeah, I appreciate you guys to say. I want to definitely get a chance for you guys all to kind of let them know. Saying, like you said, I mean, that's, you guys nailed it on the head. I say, Jimmy Senior meant a ton to everybody. I said, I mean, obviously touched everybody that was a part of this race tonight. And obviously, some unfortunately weren't able to make the race itself. But yeah, I said, I mean, we wouldn't have been able to set up the Area 51 League without what they were able to do with them. And yeah, it's just been a blast to be able to be a part of that, to be able to do some of that racing with you all and everything like that, and then to be able to put this on as well. So yeah, I really want to thank you guys for being a part of this race. I say it was definitely an awesome show you guys put on. Also, again, want to mention for those that are still on here, if you haven't had a chance, and if you are able to, say again, there's no obligations, anything like that. Say Charles is setting up the funeral expenses donations over on his Gmail address, which is that charlesj1998@gmail.com. If you haven't already, feel free to say, obviously any amount's always appreciated. As we all know, unfortunately, funerals are a little bit more expensive than we'd like them to be. So. But yeah, as they all said, though, definitely thoughts and prayers out to the Crow family. Jimmy Jr., definitely we're thinking of you as well. Look forward to seeing you on track as soon as you're able to as well. Always love having you with us also. So guys, thank you again. Great job though tonight. I say you guys again to kind of show the teamwork, how well it works week in and week out, and I say you guys didn't disappoint again this evening.
I appreciate you broadcasting it, Gail. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, thank you, Dale.
See your ass tomorrow night, Dale.
Sounds good, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Dale.
All right, Dale. So those are our top three finishers, and of course, we got to bring Eric Laurie in there. So kind of again, just wrong place, wrong time for him, but say was definitely in the mix there as well as always, as he always is. But yeah, I mean, these guys just class acts, all of them. It's always a blast to be a part of it with this group of guys. And yeah, so say again, it's not the ideal situation why we want to be doing this race, but at the same time too, it wouldn't feel right not to do something for Jimmy Senior, for everything he's done for iRacing and for obviously league racing itself, and for a lot of these drivers, like I said, being able to make friendships and kind of create teams and just what we've seen out here tonight. So yeah, it's just an awesome thing to see.
Yeah, it really illustrates the strength of the community here at Area 51, the community that Jim Crow had built, and then just the iRacing community in general. As these races, these types of races are not uncommon within iRacing.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, we've seen week in and week out just the kind of wild finishes, wild races we get with everybody. But yeah, so it's always been a lot of fun. So yeah, so again, definitely want to thank Charles Johnson for getting this set up. I say honored just to be able to be a part of it as well. So definitely look forward to continuing that on with Area 51. But yeah, like I said, obviously, everybody's thinking about that Crow family. So yeah, like I said, Jimmy Jr., Marie, and everybody, we're thinking of you. Hopefully, time will help heal a little bit, but we'll all miss Jimmy Sr. So. But yeah, hope those were able to be part of the race. I hope you guys had fun with it. Those who are watching, hope you enjoyed it as well. Dale, as always, it's a pleasure to have you with me. I say really want to thank you for jumping in on this one, kind of late notice, but say it's always a pleasure to have you be part of it as well. Looking forward to continue on doing broadcasts with you here.
No, I appreciate it. Happy to be here. Definitely happy. Definitely thankful for the opportunity to be here today.
All right, so yeah, thank you all for joining us again. So again, as I mentioned, if you are able to say again, really want to thank Charles for getting this set up again. So yeah, if you are able to say charlesj1998@gmail.com, that's the email you can send some donations to for help for the funeral expenses. So again, the Crow family, we're thinking of you all. Hopefully, everybody's doing as well as possible. But until then, hope you all have a wonderful evening, wonderful weekend. And of course, as always, if you can, please try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and have a good evening.